Welcome to Sikkim 365 Radio. Sikkim 365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Gaither wants to throw. Man wide open. It's LaMarcus McDonald. He caught it at the 30. He will score. Touchdown. Connolly. 63 yards. Gaither sold that play very well.
Sikkim 365 Radio's coverage of Texas high school football is sponsored by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, protecting Texans for over 50 years. J.D. Power, highest customer satisfaction among auto insurers in Texas, 9 years in a row.
Come on, I can't give you the nuggets like that, man. Nah, I grew up with a couple guys who are still my brother's best friends to this day. We talk every day, group message, and, what goes on in Dallas, it always comes back to me, I always find out the scoop, so.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, here we go. We start this Friday show, and we are jam-packed. We'll have numerous high school coaches on, including a couple right off the top here in about 12 minutes. We'll also hear from one of the partners of Sikkim365.com and Sikkim 365 Radio, Ashley Hodge, in studio to discuss tailgating tomorrow because, yes, there will be a game. Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, I'm David Smoke. Armstrong Sims runs the mothership today. 254-339-1122 off the top of the show today. Just your thoughts about when you heard the word, and I never thought there would be this much interest in saying, yes, there's a game tomorrow. And I did get that note from today. Somebody in Baylor Athletics said, everybody tested, KU and Baylor, no positive tests, game on, pray for no power outages. So, yeah, make sure you get into that as well. Craig, real quick, then Paul, then we'll take two calls off the top. Your thoughts when you saw that it was actually official, because at this time last week, it was like a huge dark cloud over Waco and Baylor.
Just a sense of relief and, glad that this is going to go on and glad that we don't have to play the waiting game any longer. Certainly it feels like the town's a bit buzzier today. I guess a few people just assuming that this would go on have made their way into town. I think that was noticeable. So, yeah, there's that for the first time, that feeling of like, hey, it's kind of like fall and football and all of that starting to get going. And yeah, you can feel it in the air. So I was just relieved for the players and everybody involved.
All those that have put so much time and effort into it that have not had a chance to play. Paul Catalina?
I'm relieved for the team, mostly for the guy. I mean,
how about the fans?
For the fan, I mean, yeah. I mean, look, I don't feel as bad for the fans because we're just sitting and waiting for it. But I feel bad for the guys who are lifting weights and running and practicing and doing all that. They're the ones who I feel the worst for because they're putting in for it to entertain us. Like, we're sitting around waiting to be entertained. The people who are doing it for our enjoyment.
The band members.
Those people who are trying to do this for us can't do it, and then we're all mad about it. Well, I feel bad for the ones who put in all the effort.
We're going to hear from Bosqueville's Clint Sanders today. We'll also hear as well from McGregor's Mike Shields off the top here in a second about their games tonight. Ashley Hodge, Grayson Grundhafer, Dave Aranda. We'll also hear from Charlie Brewer's father, Robert, played Texas quarterback at Texas. He's had sons in college football. And a lot of interesting notes from him, from Charlie Brewer and how healthy he has been, and a lot of the innuendos about that, to even the extra year that players get after this year and whether or not he's spoken with Charlie about that, whose focus right now is on Kansas. Let's go to the calls, 254-339-1122. Your thoughts when you heard the game was going to happen.
Well, look, we couldn't get a better one off the top. T-Rex.
Gentlemen, we have Baylor football this weekend. There's nothing else that matters. I'm southbound and down, fiance and dog in the car, coolers full of beer and liquor. Let's go, baby. I might have to hit up Twin Cities to stock up some more. Let's get the grills fired up. We're tailgating across the street. I don't know about you, Baylor Nation, but I'm prepared. for a Jayhawk butt whooping. That's all I got to say.
All right, T-Rex, first of all, go to Riverbend Liquor and Wine, which is on Lakeshore Drive. That's where you need to go off of 19th Street, and I'm sure you probably have plenty of what you need to already either be juiced up after you get here.
Yeah.
Not before, but after you get here. It's great to hear you. You're right. That's the perfect start of the show. 254-339-1122. And T-Rex was also looking for a certain amount of followers on Twitter for something. I don't know what was going to happen if he got to that point as well, but we appreciate the call. 254-339-1122. Also, the Twitter lines at Craig Smoke, at Paul Catalina, at David Smoke. The chat room from Willis Law Firm is open as well. And in fact, Ed Bear, love the guests listed on the side of the screen, which is part of something we started yesterday, which is on the side of the screen, the list of the guests from start to finish, including high school. We'll have notes on the Cowboys, and again, other interviews that include Baylor and their game with Kansas, among others as well.
Yeah, I mean, lots of things that we'll be adding on as we move along, obviously, and Armstrong's doing a great job, everybody involved with that. Another little addition on this Friday, those beautiful high school football helmets from our local teams, got Connolly and Midway and China Spring and La Vega all posted up, so thank you to those programs for being a part of the show in a roundabout way and giving a helmet to have here on screen. So definitely appreciate their support, and good luck to those playing tonight.
I called all the coaches. I had time to go around the last couple of days and pick these up. Every one of them said, come by. Midway's still another week out because of that last-second delay with them. They'll play Round Rock. They'll play Round Rock in a game. It won't count, but it will. And then, of course, next week they open up against South Grand Prairie. Meanwhile, Waco High has West Mesquite tonight. Conley is off. La Vega's off. China Spring with a game at home against Mejia. And those are some of the games. But we'll also hear from Mark Fannin, the head coach at Franklin, after losing their first couple of games, winning last week in their game, and also kind of looking good doing that by beating Troy. So we have a game, an actual game. Armstrong, do we have a picture of the uniform? Do we have a picture of the uniform? Let me know. They had Baylor football put this out. That started to become a big deal 7, 8, 9 years ago. It was the helmet, whatever, Baylor would flash it up. Do you like the combination that you saw? Did you get to see it, get a chance? I love it. I thought it was very pretty.
Yeah, no,
okay.
Yeah, it's a good little combo, and I like them switching it up. They did it a couple times last year. I understood why they kind of went with the all solids when they were winning games, and you don't really want to break that streak. It's a mental thing more than anything, really. But yeah, the green and then gold pants I think is a really sharp look. That gold was not very popular initially when it was debuted, but I think if you use it, the all yellow may not be someone's thing ever. Although I kind of grew to like them a little bit because they were so different. But I do think the yellow really pops when combined with the green, and that's a cool combo. So I like that one a lot. I really think that's going to look sharp.
I thought the yellow one that they used, the gold, was a kind of the mentality of the defensive team that they were. I think that kind of showed you kind of like, not that it's muddy or dirty, but it's kind of got that tough look to it, that just straight one color.
And if you're wearing all yellow, you kind of need to be a tough football team, Like that's not the most intimidating color. So it's almost like, we're wearing all yellow, and we're still going to beat your brains in and not let you score any points. So, no, the green, gold, I think is good look, and that will look sharp tomorrow at McLean.
All yellow makes you feel like you've just been trucked by a bottle of mustard.
But they pulled it off, they did.
By the way, a couple of other tweets. DJ Sweet and Low, 2003, I love it. David Smoke, so glad we have Baylor football this week from Taylor Dameron. Hammer KU plus 17. It's a new week, baby. Coastal Carolina is in the past, and we're moving forward. So that's moving forward as well. And then a lot of gifts of people happy as they could possibly be that there's a game. T-Rex, by the way, I totally meant Riverbend Liquor. I'm so pumped.
Of course
I misspoke. Yeah. T-Rex, you come down 35 if you're coming in from the north. Come down 35. Get off on Martin Luther King and just go on Lakeshore. Yeah. Go all the way down and you'll go to 19th Street, and it's on the corner at 19th Street, right there behind a bank that's right there on the corner.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, for those that are maybe traveling from south, like Austin area, Bears fans, San Antonio, whatever, it's definitely a game weekend, I'll tell you that much. So definitely have us on while you're cruising on along, and have your Waze app or however you get pulled up. But, certainly it's good to have, like, the uniforms, being put out there, and that's a cool sign of football being back. Just the busyness around the city's a fun sign of, kind of just life returning. And then you see, like, even the small touches, like a little sign on the sidewalk, like a game's coming up. Like, all that's going on today. and it feels like football, and it hasn't felt that way for a long time.
All right,
Yeah.
we're going to have a couple of high school coaches. We'll have Clint Zander from Bosqueville. They're playing Rio Vista. And then also today, McGregor's Mike Shields. They're 2-2. And their opening game of that district that's got Lorena and Academy and others in it. It's a Troy. It's a very tough district. Do that now or come back after the break?
No, we're going to take a break.
Take a quick break. Armstrong Sims runs the mothership, back with Bosqueville's Clint Zander, McGregor's Mike Shields. Also, a little bit later on, Dave Aranda, Robert Brewer, and much more, including Ashley Hodge on the Sikkim 365 tailgate at Brazos Parking. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, they are the people that you can count on, and they've been having deals, all summer long. When we were all dealing with quarantine, they still had a way for you to come by and buy a vehicle. We've managed to kind of loosen that up just a tiny bit, but even then, they've still got precautions in place for people who are looking for a new car but maybe aren't trying to get out and about and all into some showrooms. They got the kickoff savings event going on right now, Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. All of their 2020 vehicles on the lot are priced to move right now. If you're looking for a truck, you're looking for the best truck, well, you want a GMC. During Richard Carr's kickoff savings event, qualified buyers will score huge savings like $8,000 off on a 2020 GMC Sierra, or you can save $6,000 on the Rumi 3-row 2020 GMC Acadia. 3-row Buick Enclaves are full of room and full of luxury. All 2020s right now are $8,000 off. They've also got the line of Cadillacs, the 2020 XT4, XT5, the even roomier 7-passenger Cadillac XT6. Get yours starting today at only $35,900 at Richard Carr Cadillac, or find one of the best sedan values on the market with the exhilarating 2020 Cadillac CT4 starting at $32,995. They've got big selection. They've got great prices. And when you buy a vehicle, you get free oil changes plus VIP priority warranty service on all vehicles purchased at Richard Carr Motors. They stand by to support all of their customers with award-winning service. And again, they're the people you can count on. A local family dealer run by Baylor alumni. Check out these great deals because they want to earn your business now and for every car down the road. So stop by that daily disinfected showroom and see their safety-focused staff. Or again, they can bring the test drive to your home because your comfort and safety is Richard Carr's first priority. Find them online, Richard Carr, KARR.com, or Highway 6 at the Imperial exit.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford, our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week. Locally owned dealership, online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. The annual tent sale's going on right now.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. Even offering financing if that's needed, everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. This high school football segment is sponsored by Southwest Sports Medicine. We'll get you back in the game.
We will hear from coaches today from Bosqueville, McGregor. We'll also hear from coaches at Riker and Temple, among others. Franklin, that's all coming up. And right off the top, Clint Zander, head coach at Bosqueville. They play unbeaten Rio Vista tonight. Bosqueville 1-2, and Clint Zander joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. So you're 1-2, but I feel like you think that's a better record than what 1-2 stands for with who you've played and how you played last week. Is that correct, Clint, and why?
I sure hope so. First game we played Holland. We didn't get to play week 1. They had, and they were a little bit ahead of us and jumped on us pretty quick. And we didn't play very well. I thought the last 2 weeks we really picked up our intensity. Defense played well, and I hope that's going to carry over in the district. And I think we're playing better than that 1-2 record indicates.
Well, you had a lot of offense and a lot of defense last week. Going forward, though, do you feel maybe a little bit better that you know your team can make stops on defense when they need to, especially last week? They made most of the stops.
Right, I do. We've changed defenses this year and getting kids getting accustomed to it and coaches getting accustomed to it. It's all a different style. And so, we had to took a couple of weeks to figure that out. So I think we're getting better each week at it, and I hope we can get lots of stops.
Coach, other than the protocols and things that are put in place, has this season felt all that different from a normal season?
Not really. We do a lot of extra cleaning and prepping and things like that, but when it comes down to game time, it doesn't seem any different to me. I mean, I've got a mask on, and that's about the only difference.
Luke Bradshaw put up big numbers for you. He wasn't the only one that made plays last week in the win against Riesel, but he put up some pretty big numbers for you. Your thoughts about where he is right now, just 3 games in?
I'm really happy. He worked all COVID break and summer, whatever you want to call that time, and he was here every day on his own too, and just doing the little extra things and starting to pay off. And he's had a year under his belt. He's starting to relax a little bit, and I think that's allowing him to see the game better and hopefully continue to play better.
And you're playing a game now. Your district starts. These games start for real now, and we don't know how many we're going to get through. Hopefully you're going to be able to get to every single one of them. That would be 6 for you. And when you have who you have in your district, it ought to be kind of a street fight between now and sometime in November. You agree?
I do. Like you said, we start and crank it off, and Rio Vista, they're 4-0 for a reason. So we got to go play, and hopefully we can get on a roll and get things moving towards district title.
Luke Bradshaw had 5 touchdown passes in the win against Riesel, 52-26. Clint, thanks for jumping on with us. I know it's a busy afternoon as you play Rio Vista on the road. Thanks for your time, and good luck tonight.
Hey, thanks, guys.
You too. That's Clint Zander, head coach at Bosqueville. We'll hear from Mike Shields, the head coach at McGregor, momentarily. Also, Scott Stewart and Temple, they're going to be prime time tonight, 8 o'clock on Fox Sports Southwest against Longview. Everyone knows the 2 history there, the 2 histories of or traditions of those 2 schools among the top, probably 5 history wins, playoff appearances and all that. Longview's had, Temple's had that run they had, especially in 5A, but they're still pretty good. They've not been able to get that district title because Midway was in their way, and they were. And now they're in the district. Everything else is the same, plus they added, Bryan, Midway now, and Waco High go up north, and that's going to be one hell of a show. That's going to be, I got to watch part of that tonight, no question.
Yeah, I'll watch a little bit of that, and obviously grew up watching Longview, so we'll be interested to see how they look in addition to Temple. But, yeah, I mean, for Temple, no Midway in the way anymore, so, yeah, you got it set up pretty well.
All right, also in District 11, 3A, there's the game tonight. McGregor plays Rockdale, and this is a district with everybody is 2-2 or better. We're now joined by Mike Shields, head coach at McGregor. And, Mike, when I say that, I'm sure that gives all the coaches, there are some that are more favorites than others, but when you look at you start district play and everybody's 500 or better, what does that tell you?
It kind of tells us what we believed when realignment came out, and that's that this district could be one of the toughest in 3A week to week, and you better be ready each week to play.
With the district being as tough as it is, and do you feel like you got a good measure of what your team is in the non-district? You kind of know who you are now?
Yeah, I think so. That was part of the reason of scheduling a team like March, was to find out what we were and to get us ready, or to see some of those teams or that team to get us ready for these district teams, because we knew Rockdale, Cameron, Troy, we're going to be out there with them with the speed, and I wanted our kids to be able to see that and hopefully adjust to it to get ready for district.
Well, and you've put up 44 points a game, and this, I think, defense eventually is going to be the separation for whoever eventually ends up on top. But this could be a district where you have to score 35 or 40 points a game. Is that kind of the impression you get right now?
Right. You may be right. I mean, every time we watch film, it's like, oh my gosh, we got to keep that offense off the field, or something of that sort. So, it's a very high-powered offensive district. Let me put it that way. And man, each team has some explosive guys on offense, whether it's at running back, quarterback, or receiver, and your defense just has to try to contain them. I don't know if there's any stopping them, but we got to contain them.
Well, and you have somebody that makes plays for you, and not just McDaniel at quarterback, but you have some others who are making plays. What have you seen, Mike, now in your second year, Viandre and his maturation as a quarterback? Because he was pretty good even before you got there.
Right, exactly. I mean, he's making the good reads. He's making the right throws when he needs to. We ask a lot of him, to make. Everybody's running power read these days, where we're reading the defensive ends, and then, like I said, you throw in the passing game that he's got to make the right reads. That's where we've seen him really coming alive, is on both those ends, on both those reads and decision making.
You have been in this business quite a bit. Has the first 4 games, can you experience, or have you experienced, is it different because of all of what's happened, or is it pretty much now, even with, you have to be careful day to day with the COVID, is it kind of back into a routine yet?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not going to say we're.
And we lost him, I think.
No, you might be in a bad cell area. Are you there, Coach? Yeah, I think we did. I think he was about to answer. I'll put words in his mouth. No, it's not been a routine.
Do you want me to call him back?
Yeah, if you have time. We got time. Ashley Hodge, by the way, is in studio. A lot of pressure on us today. When Ashley or Brian, Colt Armstrong's tough to deal with.
He's such a diva.
He's absolutely. And so we'll see if we can get Mike Shields just for that last question, because it's always intriguing to hear from the coaches. Some of these guys have been through cancellations. Some coaches have had to find another game.
That's all right.
You got it back? Okay. We'll just ask the one question. Armstrong, you got it back up. Mike, I was asking you, is it back to everything normal? And I think you were about to shoot holes in that, weren't you?
Well, yeah, exactly. I don't know if we're going to be back to normal this year.
Yeah.
Because it could happen any week. And you've seen that at other places. We've been lucky as anything that we haven't had that many cases out here, if any cases. And man, you're just scared each week that somebody at school could get it, and then could be in the classroom with a couple of your football players, and then the contact distancing and stuff, and they may be sent home. So you don't know what's going to happen. We were kind of lucky. I think we didn't start school until September 8th. So we got in a couple games even before the kids went to school. And, like I said, I've just seen it at other places, no fault of their own, but just a couple kids get it here or there, and then they bring it to school, and then we have to handle it,
Yeah, well, good luck tonight. Obviously, a great district. Academy right now leads the way at 4-0. 2-2 McGregor against also Rockdale. They're 2-2. Both have played good people. Mike, thanks for jumping on with us, and good luck tonight.
Thank you.
That's Mike Shields, head coach at McGregor. He's a Riker guy. He went to a school at Riker and then also at Southeastern Oklahoma State, coached at Terrell, most recently Red Oak, and also Italy. Academy's 4-0. Yo and Lorena 2-1. Then Rockdale, Troy, McGregor, and Caldwell all at 2-2. Interesting to watch with that Academy Lorena game tonight. And, of course, Yo plays Caldwell. The other one that's of interest is that they're off. Troy's off the McGregor game, and Rockdale. They're averaging 44 points a game. They're going to need him in that district. When we come back, and there's a couple of other high school games, and we come back with Ashley. The Groesbeck-Fairfield game postponed. 8-3A Division I, though, has some buys built into the back of the schedule, so it appears they'll be able to kind of get that thing redone with Coach Bechtel and also with Coach Bomar. This is an interesting note. It's not Central Texas, but Paris had to forfeit or had to give up their next two games against Melissa and then even next week against Anna. Here's the key here. District 7 4A Division I's district executive rules result in both games being forfeits for Paris. They don't have any type of built-in openings. And so what happens is Paris will lose both games by 2 points. And Melissa and Anna will get wins over the next couple of weeks and be a +2 if it gets to a plus. And Paris is good enough to be a playoff team in that district, but they open up at 0-2. That's a big hurdle. Alba Golden, in their game with, their next couple of games have been shut down because of COVID, but they have a plan in place to be able to play on Monday, November 2nd, and then on Saturday, November the 7th against Celeste and then against Cooper.
That's a weird week, though.
Yeah, that's a weird week, and I was going to say in the previous game, that's something that sounds like they didn't really think it out all that well. Honestly, I mean, I'm sure they put a lot of thought into it, but when COVID outbreak happens and you're just forfeiting games and that kind of jazz and you have no built-in weeks, like that doesn't sound like it was really built all that well.
That's why La Vega's not playing this week, because their district, it's 5 4A Division I, moved everything up a week, which is what 9 4A Division II did with Conley, China Spring, Robinson, and others, Gatesville. They moved theirs up a week a long time ago, so they have the buffer week. Not a bunch, but at least they have the one. And they have this week off to possibly also get things under control if they have a problem.
Just think if that McLennan County health guy had, pump the brakes a little bit and put everybody into a tizzy for a week, none of this would have been necessary.
We wouldn't be sitting here 4 Connolly games later entering their bye week. They'd have played, 0
Yeah,
at this point?
they would be playing their first game tonight.
But no, I'm saying if he hadn't done it at all, if he had just waited and said, look, we may have to postpone, here's what I'm saying, but don't do anything yet, and then get the input that he got, and then they wouldn't have had to reschedule it.
No, and Midway would be playing their first game tonight. Their game tonight would count as far as a non-district game rather than just kind of a quasi-glorified, not scrimmage. They're going to play for real, apparently, and that's good as they get ready for their opening game with South Grand Prairie and then Westlake the following week when we come back. So tomorrow, Baylor and Kansas, 6:30. Kickoff. The game's on ESPNU. We'll be here tomorrow at 4:30 for our pregame show between 4:30 and 6, and then give you a chance to go do what you want to do. And if you're going to be at Brazos Parking for the tailgate, Sikkim365.com, we'll have a location there. Milo All Day will have a location there. We appreciate that. What does it all mean? When does it start? What's going to be there? If you haven't paid, how can you get involved? Ashley Hodge will set you up with that. Next from in studio on Sikkim 365 Radio. IdealMRI.com. Spoke with Dr. Rob Maxey earlier this week. Premium quality MRIs, convenient, affordable, that's ideal. And I asked him whether or not, because of all that we're dealing with various businesses being able to do this or that or not, and whether or not people are maybe worried about going to get, for example, a muscle or a ligament and or a bone looked at through an MRI that they need based on what their doctors told them. Pains, aches, and sometimes something that's excruciating, why not make sure you get it done? And IdealMRI.com, your doctors will tell you they're the place to go if you ask. And on average, an MRI can cost over $1,100. Theirs will cost less than $500 every single time, $497. And there won't be anything later on that you get trail a week or two or 4 or 5 later for $60 or $100 or $500. It's all right there. They'll tell you from the beginning. And state-of-the-art MRI machine. I've been in it from start to finish, from getting the appointment to getting checked in to talking to the techs and the specialist to the MRI and then getting the reading from Dr. Rob Maxey. And then I passed it along to Dr. David Hames at Southwest Sports Medicine, an orthopedic surgeon. It's Ideal MRI in the Central Texas Marketplace in Waco.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, Bod Pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change. Your change.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. Are you a Sikkim 365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sikkim365.com.
Well, the super fan, when it comes to what Baylor men's basketball, sitting right to my right, and Ashley Hodges, also a partner from Sikkim365.com. He and Brian Etheridge and also Colt Barber, they're the ones that reached out to us in mid-March. It was amazing how quick that turned around because they're committed, fearless. We flew a big old plane into a dark cloud with not knowing exactly what we were doing, but knowing what we wanted to do. Is this a dream come true for you? Not being with us by any means.
That is.
But is this what we've done and what we've seen work so far? What's it mean to you and Brian and Colt?
Oh, we're fired up. I mean, we're so happy to have you guys, and I think the future is so bright, for this business and for Baylor Athletics and for the support that we do for our fan base. But I would just say that it was a vision. It was a vision that we had 3 or 4 years ago, and we worked a plan. We've been methodical about it, and from the get-go, we wanted to have a radio show, and we wanted to do video. So it's really cool to see this come to fruition.
Well, you never know what things can happen that kickstart that a little bit, maybe quicker than even you thought, and we are as well. So there's a game tomorrow.
Yes.
And you guys have been trying to plan this first game, whether it was going to be in Houston or whether it was going to be, of course, La Tech and then Houston, and now there's actually a game. So what will you have at Brazos Parking on MLK right across from McLean Stadium?
Well, there's a couple things. First of all, we're trying to start a tradition of Friday night tailgating. So we're gathering tonight at 6:30. So if there's anyone that wants to come out, we'll have a taco truck out there, and we'll be serving some tacos and have some Three Nations beer, and we'll have the games on. So we'll have a good fellowship tonight. But tomorrow is when the real tailgating starts. We're going to be there probably around 11 o'clock, and I think our food service is 1 to 5. Milo All Day is going to be providing that. They do an outstanding job. They did it last year. Rave reviews as far as their food and their service. We'll be, following all the guidelines. So we encourage people to have a drink in their hands at all times, so that they don't have to
that's one
have
of
the mask on all day.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, we're expecting a good crowd, and the food's going to be great, and we'll have beverages, and you can pre-order the food on Sikkim 365. I think it's $12 if you pre-order.
Yep.
And if you pay it at the day of the game, it's $20. So there's a big discount if you pre-order. So we encourage people to go to the website and do that.
Yeah, I just talked to Brotherwell Brewing, and they're going to bring their beer over at 3. So,
awesome.
and they're out there anyway. So it's going to be great. So
it's going to be good. So
it's I know that the Milo has kind of had to cook a little bit each week.
Yeah.
I thank God for them too, right? Not just for us or the players or the coaches and the fans, because I know how good their food is. I've had it before.
Yes.
And it's great. Corey and all those guys will be able to get all that done. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's exciting that, it's not a false start, so to speak, this time. And
did that announcement, when that became official, isn't that weird how, hey, they're going to play tomorrow, but that now is a big deal.
Yes.
What did you, as someone who put so much effort into this, all of you guys, what did that mean to you?
It's relief. I mean,
there you go.
I mean, because there's a lot of preparation that goes into this, and obviously people that are traveling from out of town are spending money on hotels and trying to, start some tailgate traditions. And we had a good time last week, even though the game was canceled. But it's much more fun when you have a game to look forward to.
So 6:30 tonight at Brazos Park, and again, if you're coming in north, coming in on 35, you take a left on on Martin Luther King. Excuse me, it's right there, not far. It's basically almost right across from McLean Stadium. It's the major parking lot area. And then tomorrow, 11 o'clock, right off the top, 11 o'clock. And is Brian going to bring that big green egg down with him? Because I hope not, because that would take like 5 pickup trucks to get that thing down to Waco. He loves to cook. Do you cook as much as he does?
I use a big green egg, but I'm not near the expertise of Brian. I'm mostly doing steaks.
So, I have this theory that when Brian drives past, a cow pasture, the cows, they don't know why they're scared, but they're, they just feel it.
It's like that.
When Dracula's in a room and nobody's figured it out yet, that's kind of how the cows are something bad's about to happen.
There's some natural tension, no doubt about it.
But because he's just posting pictures of meat all the time.
We did yesterday. He put up 3 more yesterday, and I know that Brian Bauer and the Bauer family at Waco Custom Marketplace, of course, they're going to be involved with us as parts of the season as well. I've talked to Brian about that.
Yep.
So tonight, 6:30 until everyone decides to kind of
11-ish.
linger home.
Yeah, around 11ish. I mean, we're not 22 these days, but we have a good time.
God, that's 1/3 my age, basically. 1/3 my age.
Yeah.
Anything else other? Let's just say somebody, okay, they don't order online. That's $12 but they can pay $20 when they get there, and then they have the food available, and it's whatever's there, right? I mean, it's not like you have just 2 beers or whatever.
Balcones is going to have product there. Deep Eddy vodka. I mean, there's spirits and Coca-Colas. I mean, the good Mexican Cokes like in the bottles. I mean, they're going first class here. And water, obviously, and it's family friendly. But I would say we have 2 tents out there, big tents, so people can stay cool. We'll have some fans. We'll have 3 50-inch televisions showing the games. And I think Tom Hill has this monster Jumbotron television out there too. It's massive.
And there's some people that have been that were across the street before that couldn't tailgate anymore. And then some of them moved over because of the different guidelines anyway. So some of those bigger setups are coming over, right?
Yeah, Hob Howell has had a really big following for his tailgate, and he's now right next to us. So for people that are listening that are familiar with his tailgating, that's where the fun is.
He's got the smoker. We ought to do this, and I know you got to go, and we got Grayson coming around the corner as well. But we ought to do one game because now you have this first home game, then there's a break, then there's West Virginia, then eventually you got another home game down the road. Not many, a kind of a cooking contest or something. Just something that everyone's a judge, and if everyone wants to do tri-tip or brisket or steaks or wings or whatever, sausage. Yeah, we ought to think about that maybe when the weather even gets a little bit cooler than it is right now. Craig, you got something? Yeah. No.
You got to turn the mic on.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I got you now. Yeah.
Got me? Okay. I was just going to say, we got to remember to invite Blake Blackmar if we're going to do
the Well, he's going to win it.
And I think there's some other probably very worthy candidates that could also join in.
He's been known to come by our tailgate.
Yeah,
no doubt
about
it. Yeah.
That's great. With
like before he was playing in the game?
Yeah.
After games, after his playing career was over.
I was just going to say, with Hobby being over there, it's like this couldn't have been set up any better than it already is. It's great, and it's going to be awesome. So definitely encourage everybody to check it out.
Yep.
Man, we've had some false starts.
Yeah.
The most annoying penalty is a false start.
Hobby is a tailgate artiste. I mean, he brings it to another level. So.
Is Edward Jones on that side too?
Yeah, same group.
With John Maddox and all those guys?
Same group.
Yeah, of course. Edward Jones with Ben Erlinson, Tom Albers, right?
Yeah, that's what
Cam Heathcott. I mean, great people that are a part of that as well. Mm-hmm. Brad Wilson. Yeah, they're there as well. One of the great sponsors of Sikkim 365 Radio. Thanks, man.
Yes.
Appreciate you.
And we also got to mention Redfish, Mike Dewey.
Mike's over there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
You know, that's great because he was the one that actually got Floyd Casey, he lit the fuse over
question.
there.
Yeah.
He started that area that was down, that became kind of an Animal House in a fun-loving way.
Yeah.
And a lot of it gave students a chance to feel like at Baylor games they could go and unwind and have fun.
Right.
And we did our show down there a few times. That's great. Mike Dewey, too. That's fantastic.
He's the one who made people have to come early.
Yeah.
Well, he learned. He saw what it did at Virginia Tech. That's where, at first they had nothing, and then they started to win with Beamer, and he saw that develop, and he always had a plan, had a belief, had a dream, and it worked. And Baylor had to kind of understand that, and they did. Yep. All right, Ashley Hodge with us, Sikkim 365, one of the owners of the site as well. When we come back, Grayson Grunhafer, Sikkim365.com will join us at 4 o'clock. Conversation I had, we were going to run this last Friday, and then the game was canceled. I interviewed and recorded with Robert Brewer on many things, his son Charlie Brewer, about a lot of stuff, including some of the speculation about his health or about the extra year. Has he even brought that up or not? Yes, he's focused on Kansas. Among some other chips on the shoulder with Charlie Brewer, where do they come from? That's going to be at 4. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Brotherwell Brewing, you just heard us talking about them. They're going to be out near the tailgate tomorrow. They're in Brazos parking, and hopefully one of our founding partners didn't hurt himself here at his own building. But they're going to be out there tomorrow, so they're going to have a tent. So go see them tomorrow at Brazos Parking if you're going to come out. Also, we'll have some Brotherwell beer as well. Their goal is to be Waco's community brewery by brewing well-crafted beers that are approachable and enjoyable to anyone. Beer is one of the world's oldest enjoyments, yet Americans have had extremely limited access to a variety of quality beers. And so they are bringing this is not your run-of-the-mill beer. You know, one of the things they hear at Brotherwell all the time is, I don't like beer, but I do like this, because they do. It's not just, you know, whatever you find in a convenience store. It is so much better than that. Their most popular beer is the Bridge Street Vit, and that's a Belgian-style wheat beer brewed with orange and spices. It's named after the street the brewery's on, which is East Bridge Street, just a couple of blocks down from where we are right now. Look, if you want more information on Brotherwell Brewing, just go to the website, brotherwell.com, and you can find out everything that they're doing, including the East Side Market, including, you know, their tailgate at Brazos Parking, all of that on brotherwell.com, or stop by the brewery. You can get curbside service on East Bridge Street. Brotherwell Brewing, brotherwell.com.
How can we help you? That's a question we ask every day at American Bank. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Our commitment to our customers is what drives us. It's why we've invested in new branch buildings and technology like ITMs that let you speak to a teller face-to-face from your car. It's why we work with local businesses, helping Waco grow and thrive. And it's why decisions about your accounts and loans are made here in Waco by people who know you. How can we help you? Find out at American Bank, member FDIC.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
Pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and, you know, I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
What season is it? It's truck season at Allen Samuels. Ram trucks are raring to go, ready to work and play, and all feature the best deals of the year during Ram Power Days. Come get your brand new Ram Lone Star at Allen Samuels with 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $9,250 in bonus cash and incentives. Ram, the highest pickup owner loyalty in America. Shop, apply, buy online. We deliver. Ram Power Days at Allen Samuels.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Grayson Grundhafer of Sikkim365.com. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Hope Ashley Hodge and Brian Etheridge and Colt Barber and everybody listening to this. This is a text from the text line from Diane. Ashley, I appreciate so much the commitment you and your partners made that has allowed us this opportunity for Baylor and Central Texas Sports Radio. We appreciate that very much, Diane. And now somebody else who's been a part of this from the ground up, Grayson Grundhafer, joins us Fridays at 3:45 on Sikkim 365 Radio.
Grayson, we've got a football game coming up tomorrow. KU and Baylor is officially on. What sense did you get when seeing the official word come across? Like, what was your feeling seeing that we're actually going to see some football tomorrow?
Yeah, honestly, I think this is probably everyone's first reaction is just relief that it's actually here. It's actually going to happen, and that, you know, it's not just an imagination that season's going to happen. It actually is for the Baylor Bears, and I'm really excited to see how they come out and play tomorrow. But yeah, my first reaction is just flat out relief, honestly.
Grayson, do you worry a little bit about rust, or do you think this team is going to be so fired up to go that rust won't be an issue?
You know, I actually thought they were going to be a little more rusty if they had played maybe last week or the week before. I think since they've had extra times of practice, gotten to really kind of get in a groove, I feel like, with this whole practice schedule. And now you're playing a Big 12 opponent. I just don't think that they're going to be too rusty. I do think, obviously, there's going to be some kinks to work out with the new coaching staff like usual. But I think that they're still going to come out and play really hard, and I don't think you're going to see a flat performance from the Bears.
There are two national signing days. There's one in December now, and it's been that way now. It's no longer new. And then there's the one that's the first Wednesday in February. But now the dead period is January 1st. It's been moved back past the first signing day. How much does that play into whatever happens in mid-December?
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting situation, honestly, because with the dead period moved back, obviously that means no official visits for the 2021 class. I mean, that's just brutal. I can't imagine trying to make a decision like that. And so I think what's going to happen is two things. First of all, I believe the dead period will be extended even further. And so in that situation, I think you're going to see most kids sign at the early signing period because you're not going to get to go on an official visit. Now, if the signing period or the dead period really does end January 1st, that's where a lot of kids are going to have to make an interesting decision, because if they decide not to sign during the early signing period and wait and hope that they get to go on visits, those first few weeks of January and go all the way into February and potentially take visits right before the signing day, that's where things could get interesting, and that's where you could see a lot of kids deciding to wait if that does indeed happen. But like I said, I do believe the dead period will just be extended throughout the entire recruiting process for the 2021 class.
Grayson, I don't think I've asked you a recruiting question in a while, I guess, because it's been so quiet with everything. But Baylor and their current class pretty much filled up. I mean, a select few spots still available, and they were on a great run there for a while and have kind of slowed it on down as they prepared for the season. Sort of where are they right now? We haven't hit the reset button in a while, so sort of where are they and how much activity is there really?
Yeah, so there's not a ton of activity when it comes to the 2021 class, and truthfully, there haven't been a lot of offers put out for 2022 either. But in the 2021 class, guys like Mansfield Summit's offensive lineman Jacoby Jackson, he's been a name that's been linked to Baylor. He's got high interest in the Bears. They're in his top 5 now. So Baylor in good shape there, it seems, for him. And they obviously have his teammate committed, Hal Presley, the wide receiver, is already committed. So they're in on Jacoby Jackson. Another guy that there's a ton of interest in on him, and that's Demetrius Crownover, the Grandview tight end. He's also a defensive lineman, offensive lineman possibility. He's getting recruited as a tight end, but I mean, when you're 6'7", 280 pounds, you can pretty much play wherever you want with his athletic profile. And he's a kid who's very, very impressive and would kind of fit that, unicorn mold that they seem to have in every class, whether it was Sam Snyder a few classes ago or Jordan Jenkins in 2021. He could kind of fit that mold as well. And so those are two guys to really focus in on. Obviously, there's a couple more offensive linemen like Jordan Moko out of Snow College. He's another one, but not a lot of spots. I would say 2 spots right now with a possibility of 3, but I just think there's just not a lot of room for the coaching staff to really play around with too many numbers.
Yeah, that's that Grandview football team's been good. They got Jensen quarterback, but Crownover is amazing. He's a heck of a player, no question about it. And now with the dead period, so there's not going to be able to be players visiting games. And they've got McLean Stadium's got that gorgeous.
They can't just not visit games. They can't visit like officially, period.
I know.
Yeah.
You have that beautiful recruits room that they put so much into when they made this McLean Stadium setup. And they're not the only one. Everyone does. I mean, everyone now has this thing. That's just so weird that you're going to have a class that signs, and some of them may never have visited the campus.
Yeah.
That's true commitment right there. Yeah.
Grayson, I think that'll probably lead to a lot of weird transfers. Not that transfers are, but like a lot of them, like people, because sometimes you think you like a place and then you go there and you don't like it. And then like that'll be kind of the reason, well, I just didn't like it here. Like they didn't like the city or whatever, but they kind of just got taken in by something else.
Yeah, Paul, I can kind of see that line of thinking for sure. And I usually always kind of think to myself, the coaches kind of are the guys who build the relationship, and then the campus, you really get the feel and the love for the family and community environment. So I always think to myself, I feel like the visit is something that really locks in a player's commitment. It really solidifies it. And so without that, it can be tough. But one thing I will say that Baylor has had an advantage on that a lot of schools didn't was that March 1st junior day that they were able to have. They got a lot of kids on campus for that visit right before the dead period hit. So a lot of the commits in the class actually did get to visit, but there are some that definitely didn't. And at other schools, there's a ton that definitely didn't get to visit. So I could definitely see transfers. It's going to be a wild and crazy process, but hey, what else is new in recruiting, right?
Yeah, that's recruiting for you. Grayson, of all the things that we're set to see tomorrow, Larry Fedora's offense for the first time, Charlie Brewer in Larry Fedora's offense for the first time, defense under Ron Roberts and Dave Aranda, all these different things we've talked about, the star position, et cetera. What are you most looking forward to actually seeing for the first time tomorrow?
Yeah, it is 100% Dave Aranda's defense, because last year we got a taste of Phil Snow's defense and kind of what it had become after being really bad in 2018 and absolutely terrible in 2017. It really all came together in 2019. So I'm excited to see Dave Aranda, who's obviously a great defensive mind, and of course Ron Roberts as well, how they kind of mold this defense and what the differences are and kind of how it all comes together. I'm so excited to see that, and excited to see some of the new talent they have out there, like William Bradley King and Dylan Doyle and some of the young guys. It's going to be a lot of fun to see that defense fly around.
Grayson, I'm sure like Sam Bradshaw, like everybody else, we hope that then we'll have evidence, right? We'll be able to talk and discuss and digest actually what happens, no matter what happens on Saturday evening, Baylor in Kansas. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it on Fridays at 3:45, and you being a part of all this as well.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
And Grayson's going to be doing the postgame, right? Grayson, give a little plug with you and J.D. Pickell for tomorrow, how that all works out for you?
Yeah, JD and I last year did a post-game show after every Baylor game, went out to the tailgate and did it, but we're going to do it in the nice, comfy studio this year, and we're ready to go. I got a text from JD today. He's ready to get the band back together, so we're ready to do it. Be on the lookout for that. It's definitely going to be exciting on Sikkim 365 Radio.
All right, thank you very much. Grayson Grundhafer with us Fridays at 3:45, recruiting the game, looking at this and that, and also, so tomorrow at 4:30, we'll begin our pregame show from here inside the broadcast center. We'll start and kind of look ahead to Kansas and have some of what we've compiled and accumulated over the week, and also have your calls and feedback. Really have appreciated that. T-Rex was the leadoff hitter today. Appreciate him as well. And then in the postgame, and Brian Etheridge might just jump in at halftime. He's known to do that. That's a little dangerous. But he's known to do that. And then as soon as the game is over, whatever the score, clock strikes 0, Grayson and J.D. Pickell will be all a part of the postgame and also be able to send you some of the postgame interviews that we get with players and coaches, or Coach Aranda, as soon as the game is over.
Yeah, so, I mean, you really have no real reason to log out of Sikkim365.com tomorrow in some ways. I mean, from the pregame, we're going to get you started to – the game itself, all the conversation that will occur on the board between all the Baylor fans and, staff chiming in on occasion as well, and then afterwards the post-game show. So, yeah, they did something out by the Container or at the Container site last year, but now we got these big, beautiful, brand-new, shiny studios, and that'll be a great setting for the postgame. But, yeah, pregame and postgame on SicEm365.com.
All right, here's a TJ. I'll be missing the last hour of the show, fellas, but I wanted to get this out of the way. 1, Baylor beats Kansas by 24 with a heavy run attack, short, quick throws from Brewer. And number 2, Craig, Adesanya beats Paulo in the UFC main. Blachowicz beats Reyes.
Yeah, I think Adesanya is going to win as well, but I think that'll be a fantastic fight with Paulo Costa. That is a battle of undefeated streaks, and so and with Costa, I mean, some just nasty power. And Adesanya, he's like the wonder child, right? He knows how to do everything. He's, the next young great and has already started to establish himself. So that fight in particular, TJ, I'm definitely looking very much forward to, and I think Adesanya wins that one as well. I'm not so confident on the other one. I need to know more.
Some breaking news. The MAC has approved return to football. The Pac-12's back. The MAC is back. So
I swear I thought you were going to say Baylor, Kansas.
No.
It's amazing when all of a sudden when you leave the room and everybody else stays and you start to feel like you're left out. It's that what do they call it? MoFo? FOMO.
Although some would say that too.
It was.
And Matt and DC on the text line, don't put the China Spring La Vega helmets on the same shelf. They'll explode. Modoc, baby. Baylor 1-0, Matt.
They're not. Look, I did that. I did that on purpose. I initially had them there.
But La Vega Conley, I mean, we saw that
game earlier.
Well, during the commercial break, I actually put Waco Highs up there. We got them as well. And, I'm going to put out a picture on Twitter, but that's awesome that we got these.
I just put up a note, a picture. Armstrong sent it to us with the high school helmets. Those are ones we have for today. We're not going to be in studio very often, we hope, because that means we have games the rest of the next 5 weeks after this one. But if you have a high school helmet and you want to have us pick it up, or I'll pay for you to send it to us by mail, or I'll drive around and get them, then let me know. Email me. Smokey HSFB for high school football. Smokey HSFB at gmail.com.
We're very much up against the break, but I will say this. I am not going to smile in pictures anymore, apparently.
Yeah, no. I mean,
I'm just not.
Yeah.
Drake, the one Drake took yesterday, I didn't know he was taking. So.
When we come back, Robert Brewer has watched his sons play college football. He's watched Charlie be the man at Baylor, even through injuries. Some of the speculation about his health. How about next year maybe being a 5th year that's good? Has he talked about that with his son and this Baylor football team with Dave Aranda and Larry Fedora and company? Robert Brewer on Many Things Charlie and Baylor next on SicEm 365 Radio.
Looking for quality plants at great prices? Barrera's Nursery and Landscape Company at 201 Sun Valley Drive in Hewitt is the place for seasonal plants, shrubs, trees, and perennials, as well as bulk material of landscape rock. Barrera's Nursery and Landscape has been locally owned and operated for 22 years. Give us a call at 666-9806. That's 666-9806 for all your landscaping needs. Barrera's Nursery and Landscape Company. Open Monday through Saturday, 8 until 5:30 on Sun Valley Drive in Hewitt.
Graham Property Company will give you the best opportunities and services to navigate and achieve your real estate goals. At Graham Property Company, we strive to establish lasting relationships built on service and performance. Whether you are buying, leasing, selling, or investing, our real estate portfolio and expertise can facilitate your needs, no matter what real estate or property need you may encounter. Graham Property Company, property sales, acquisitions, leasing, and management at GrahamInvestmentCo.com.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today. Just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway, Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Have you seen the bleachers and grandstands at Baylor University, McLennan Community College, throughout Waco, Midway, Riesel, Mart, Marlin, La Vega, and Connolly ISD? They all have one name in common, Sturtisteel, an industry-leading fabricator of engineered seating solutions. There's no substitute for knowledge and experience. Sturtisteel has both, with more combined experience in the business than anyone else in the industry. Sturtisteel is quality from the ground up. We don't just build grandstands and bleachers, we build trust. Sturtisteel.com.
Mazzana Construction is celebrating 52 years as an award-winning, family-owned and operated business excelling in general construction and construction management. Mazzana Construction is proud to support Connolly ISD's tradition of excellence in education and athletics, including owners calling Connolly High their alma mater, Vicky Mazzonic, class of 1974, and Aaron Miner from the class of 2002. Mazzana Construction, celebrating 50-plus years by building trust with quality work. MazzanaConstruction.com.
Parsons Roofing has been serving Central Texas since 1948, and we can handle your commercial roofing needs from repair to re-roofing. And no one handles more school than Parsons Roofing. Parsons Roofing has been named Contractor of the Year for 14 consecutive years. Parsons Roofing, a name Central Texans have trusted for over 70 years. It's not just a roof, it's our reputation. You can contact us today for a free roof evaluation, including hail claims at 877-881-1733 or on the web at parsonsroofing.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Brewer in trouble again.
Wow, did you see that move?
There he goes. He's got a first down and more.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sikkim 365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Robert Brewer had himself one heck of a career at the University of Texas, but also his father, Charles Brewer, was a starting quarterback for Texas back in the mid-'50s. Of course, Charlie now is the starting quarterback for Baylor. We know that others have played in college, including Michael, and so it's a family that has had many, many ties to playing quarterback at the college level. Well, Charlie now in his 4th year at Baylor. This is supposed to be his senior year. So much speculation. You know that new rule about whether or not you're going to get an extra year, like an extra redshirt mulligan year. What about that? What about Charlie and his health? There's been so much speculation about it. What about this football team as they start with a new coaching staff and Larry Fedora as offensive coordinator? Robert Brewer, former Texas quarterback, on his son Charlie and Baylor.
Robert, Charlie enters what was supposed to be his senior year. And, of course, you and I talked, 3 or 4 weeks ago when the NCAA made that ruling that it could go another year. Has he even said anything to you about that, or is he just completely focused on right now and this year?
Well, I think he probably would answer that as he's completely focused on this year, and I'll get in trouble with him. But he and I have discussed it, and he's very excited about the notion of that, having the opportunity to come back. So I don't want to get him mad at me, but there you go, Charlie. It's out there. But I think all of these things are open to change, but I think he and I both recognize he could greatly benefit from another year.
He has a chip on his shoulder, but yet he's been successful everywhere he's been. Where does that come from?
Maybe from being the little brother and getting thrown in the bushes during the touch football games when he was a kid or something. I don't know. I mean, he grew up with, Michael and Garrett Gilbert and Baker Mayfield, and he got to play with all those guys, but he was the smallest guy, and usually was the one that came home crying, and so I don't know, Charlie. I think Charlie's expectations are high, and I think that can be good, but sometimes maybe that can work against you, and so I think he just needs to be patient and improve, and but maybe if that he can use that, then that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you use it in a positive way to drive you or just maybe even sharpen you a little bit. I saw him. I told you this. I saw him. It's been at least a couple of months, maybe longer ago. And I asked him about Coach Fedora, and they hadn't even really done anything. They couldn't, there's no spring drills. There wasn't any off-season workouts. They had only been back in Waco for maybe a couple of weeks, and I'm not sure really how much they had gotten done. But when I asked him about it, that little grin he gives you, he kind of, it's kind of like he's talking without saying anything, but he had a grin on his face. Has he kind of like transferred that same thought to you?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't want to, yes. I mean, I think he's very fortunate, and I think he realizes how fortunate he is with the transition that occurred when you lose a staff of that caliber, which was great, and then to have the guys come in that came in, and then to be able to get comfortable with them and mesh with them relationship-wise right away, and then he figures out what they're trying to do on offense, and he gets excited about that and how that kind of was some of the stuff he is more comfortable with and all of that. I think he feels like, this could go well. But then, you've got a lot of things coming in on the side that have disrupted it. No spring training, to me, everybody's going to have to be a little bit patient on this thing. There may be some kids 1 week to the next, 5, 6 guys maybe that don't play, and that can affect, when you're on a new situation, that can affect things. And so I just tell him, man, just dig down and work really hard, because I think his notion is right, that this could be really good. You have to be patient. It's going to take a little time.
Earlier this year, I was on the phone with you because there seemed to be this misconception, innuendos, thoughts that Charlie was beaten and battered. And listen, he's taken a beating. There's no question about it. His first 3 years, he's taken a beating. He had a 1-11 team. Offensive line had 6 scholarship players. But he's one of those that even when he scores, he might take a pretty bad hit at the goal line. But there was a lot of speculation about his health. I know that's made him very angry. What does that do with the father?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, obviously, first and foremost, his health, it comes first. And I'll tell you this that didn't get out there. The staff at Baylor, the medical staff, was outstanding. And we've experienced that with an older child, and he went to 2 different places. In one place it was great, and the other place it wasn't very good at all. And Baylor's as good as it gets. And so we found that out, and we had that cross-checked, and were completely comfortable with the care and the analysis and the rehab, all of that that Charlie was receiving. So once he went through that process, we were very comfortable that he's okay. But he did get knocked around last year, and some of it people knew about, and some of it was kept quiet from the public, and that was for good reason. And so he was dinged up a bit, and he's okay now.
Well, so here we are. It's his last, we thought last season. I brought that up earlier. But your thoughts about what you expect, your thoughts about what you yourself as a football player, father, parent, whatever, what you see and what you expect from this football team.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a transition year. I mean, you've got to look at the the long run here. This is not going to be perfect starting out. The ingredients are there in the next year or two to do really well, but I think it would be a fool's errand to think that they're going to go out there and be a well-oiled machine right off the bat. It's just gonna have fits and starts, and so I expect what and Charlie and I've talked about is, man, you just want the effort to be great. Just keep playing, and it's going to be choppy, and if you keep doing that, you keep working at it, it's going to get better every week too. So I know that's not a very good answer, but I think there's a ton of potential there, and it's new.
Robert Brewer, the father of Charlie Brewer, Baylor quarterback, with us on Sikkim 365 Radio.
All right, so that's Robert Brewer. I want you to think about a few things that he said. First of all, there was a lot of speculation about the health. And he said, he's taken a beating at times. But he said he's healthier now than he's been. And he also mentioned with the new option that players have, with no matter who you are, it could be Trevor Lawrence, but we understand where he's going. But someone like Charlie Brewer, others who are seniors, who all of a sudden are gift-wrapped. They've been through hell and back, but gift-wrapped an extra year. They got this new red shirt thing that you could play in an X amount of games now. That was kind of the old rule that they brought back. And you could keep that under control. But it sounded like that he and his father have discussed this, and even though Charlie's focused on now, that I think you can expect him back.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised really at all.
Well, that's what he said.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he decided, okay, I'm done, too.
A lot of it might depend on how this goes. If this offense with Fedora and they start to have fun and they have a year that's really pretty good, don't expect them to have the same. First of all, they're not going to play the same amount of games. If they have fun and the offense is electric and the defense finds its way, and if the offensive line can keep him upright longer than, and with all due respect to some of the other ones they've had, he's had to start running almost immediately. Then, hey, Charlie Brewer is not going to be somebody that goes to the combine and wows people. That's just being honest at a combine. Mm-hmm. He's not. Sam Ehlinger and a couple of other college quarterbacks who might be slightly bigger, might have a little bit stronger of an arm, they themselves still in a pro setting might use another year, one, to keep playing, and two, it might be their last year.
I mean, I don't see Sam Ehlinger as a big-time pro. I mean, not that he couldn't. I mean, he's got a strong arm and he's a big guy, but I do think he's going to have to change his entire game. And that's not – I mean, not to say that, Lamar Jackson's a running quarterback and he did it, but, he's got a different level of speed than, almost everybody but a couple people on planet Earth. So I don't see Sam Ehlinger as a big-time pro prospect either. I mean, he's kind of a middle-round pick to me.
Here's one. Garland Bear 84 was listening. Thank you. Great to hear that Charlie is excited about the possibility. That's the best way to put it, of playing an extra season. The possibility of playing an extra season. And his father said, I might get him in trouble here, but hey, yeah. And that doesn't surprise me at all. He's one of the first names I thought about. It could be an offensive lineman, could be a corner, could be anyone. But he was one of the first guys I thought about that would absolutely cherish the opportunity. Keep him healthy this year, have success this year, see what happens this year. But the fact that his dad has said, no, he and I have talked about that extra option.
I've already wondered about Charlie just as a grad transfer possibility for somebody, given that, his NFL stock's not going to be extremely high. No matter what he does this year, it would be looked at, I think, as well as Fedora's offense, or it's this or that, because what's going to get brought up is his size or lack thereof. What's going to get brought up is his history of being injured, right? And those are two pretty big knocks already for a quarterback, is a lack of size or ideal size and also an injury history. So I think it would be a tough road for him. So I'd already thought before this rule was even made that, he would be a guy that potentially could go see play a year at UTSA or something like that, But the way that it's opened up now, that'll make for a very interesting decision. A very interesting decision that will have a domino effect.
Yeah, his father acted as if they have not made it. And as even Garland Bear 84 said, but he's excited about the option of being able to come back for another year. All right, we'll have Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com. let's kind of summarize a little bit of today. We're at Sikkim 365 Radio on 101 Elm Street on the corner of Martin Luther King and Elm, right across from Washington as well, on the northern side of the Brazos River, MLK Plaza, the Suspension Bridge, the Doris Miller Memorial. That's where we are. We're now a week plus into this brand new studio. Armstrong Sims runs the mothership. We have the high school helmets on today in the back on the left because it's high school football Friday night. There's some great games. I think the best game, even though it's not a both Central Texas teams game, has to be Temple Longview. And if Temple plays well, Longview had a scrimmage a week ago against Texas High that didn't end well. Remember, they had the fight, the brawl, and then John King made them run until their tongues literally came out, along with a few other things as well. The game between Franklin and Lexington is of interest to me. I think that's also one that will be kind of fun to watch. There's a couple of others as well. But KU Baylor is going to play tomorrow. That came down a little bit after lunch. That's about the time last week the bad news came down, right? Mm-hmm. MAC is back. Pac-12, of course, is coming back. Everyone seems to be coming back. It's just a matter of when they start. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. It is truck season, and that means it's time for Ram Power Days. Fantastic opportunities for Ram Lone Star Crew Cabs, decked out with plenty of options, a big old Hemi, $9,750 in bonus cash and incentives, or you can choose 0% financing for 72 months, no payments for 90 days, approved credit. Ask for details. On top of that, the Jeep Adventure Days. Jeep Gladiator Sport now has 3.9% financing for 72 months, no payment for 90 days. Jeep has also announced that employee pricing for all is back on most Gladiator models. Look and again, ask for full details. And if you want much more than that, the 2020 Cherokees features 0% financing for 72 months, no payments for 90 days, or you can choose $6,000 in bonus cash and incentives. The Renegade, 0% for 72 months, or you can choose $5,750 in bonus cash and incentives. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. I got a text yesterday from AJ. He sold me that car that I'm driving. AJ showed me a jersey with Jermichael Hasty, 49ers jersey, 38 I think it was, as he's been activated, right? Big fan of the Hasty family. Thanks to AJ for sending that to me about Jermichael as well being active. Appreciate him. Ted Teague runs the mothership there. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, don't leave your tools exposed. Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sikkim 365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The Sikkim 365 radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco, your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
Well, at Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com momentarily. I did have somebody on the I'm going to go back to the chat room, brought to you by Willis Law Firm. It was from Bern in Michigan. Smokey, question for Robert Brewer. If you were going head-to-head against Charlie in a UT versus Baylor game, who would win? I asked Robert this. That was an interview that we had set to run last Friday, but we pushed it back because the game was canceled. And Robert said overtime Texas wins the game. And then also I said, as a father, as a parent, watching this game, knowing that the game is that it's now the green light, are you relieved as a father and a parent? He goes, yes, kids 10, 11 weeks of rough practices would be concerned for an entire team mentally if it went on any longer without a game. Win, lose, or draw, it's important that they just play.
Yeah, I agree with that. And who would know better than a player's father or a parent to have an idea of just how tough this has been on the players themselves. When we talked a little bit about it, and we've got to talk to them a little bit as well. But yeah, I'm sure it's been incredibly difficult. If it's been difficult for us, you can imagine what it's like for the guys putting in the hours and hours of work with weights and running and everything else, including their classwork. So I find that comment interesting. I mean, I would go with myself too if you're being asked about like me versus my unborn son, but I don't know about the winning in overtime though, Mr. Brewer, because Charlie's kind of got like that end of game flair. So if they're going to overtime, I think I'm going with Charlie. But hey, that's fun, and I'm sure they have fun talks about
those were some pretty good UT football teams.
Yeah, they were.
But I'd want to win in regulation. Well, Charlie, I mean, that's when he pulls out the crazy stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's why everyone was kind of like the air in the balloon popped, or when they threw the pick against Oklahoma, because you expected him to get them down the field, and it did not work out. Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com, joins us. All right, Lee, this COVID stuff, you're having to pick games, odds, etc., and pick them, and also give advice to people, and yet sometimes you don't even know who might be available for a game, where normally you've got enough sources that you can get all that. Has it been more challenging for you this year?
It has. And you know what? I don't mind, because I love what I'm doing. If I had to dig ditches, and we need ditch diggers out there, it'd be a little bit tougher. But, in college football, I'm having to, follow the beat writers. They're counting and looking at rosters and who's at every practice and figure out who the backups are in a bunch of cases and project how they do. So it is a little more work in the college football. The NFL's similar. The only thing is what I've noticed and been able to follow is more scoring. Without crowds, more scoring in the NFL game. So those are my two observations, but we've been able to figure things out well enough to win all 3 weeks and head on every single big play that we've had so far.
All right, so here we go. And I know you got some big units and selections and all that we'll get to, but let's start with the Big 12. In fact, a lot of Big 12, as you would expect. Oklahoma, a 4-touchdown favorite at home against Kansas State.
So I was at the scene of the crime last year, and the way Kansas State won the game is they ran the football. But all 5 offensive line starters are gone. They didn't have a spring to gel and come together. And so what happens, 91 rushing yards, that's it, and 2.3 yards per carry against Arkansas State. And, I think they're still going to be missing a few guys on the offensive line, maybe a starter, another backup for this game against Oklahoma, maybe the defensive secondary also. This is going to remind people of Kansas State when they were in the 70s. Oklahoma has been waiting for this game. I think they lay down a smackdown here, 61-10.
Wow.
All right, Lee, Iowa State and TCU. Iowa State right now a 2-point favorite.
So in this game, I think that it really helped Iowa State that they played that first game. And teams improved the most from the first to the second game, and I think they're going to be able to clean up their mistakes. I think Brock Purdy, I think he missed his star tight end, and normally you don't talk about tight ends on a team, but he was the guy that made everyone else better in the passing game. And TCU's defense, they allowed at least 27 points in 7 games last year. People think of them as a good home team. They're actually worse at home, only 3-8 against the spread here, and Iowa State runs that 3-3-5 defense with 3 safeties, and it's going to give, I think, a young quarterback like Matt Dowling trouble. In fact, TCU, the last 3 years with more experienced quarterbacks, only scored 7, 17, and 24. Give me Iowa State by double digits, 34-24.
Texas had a big win a couple of weeks ago against UTEP, blew them out of the water as expected. Yep. Texas Tech barely got by Houston Baptist. Longhorns, 18-point favorites. What do you think, Lee?
So last year what happens is Texas Tech goes up 14-0, and people are thinking, wow, we've got a game. Well, Texas didn't even blink in that game, and they win the game 49-24. In that game, Sam Erlinger, he passed for 348 yards. He ran for another 83. And how bad is the Red Raiders defense? There's 130 teams when everyone plays. Usually 130, that's the worst team, is UMass. 129, usually a team like UConn. And who's 128? The Texas Tech Red Raiders last year, and they're even worse this year. Houston Baptist almost pulled out that game. I think Texas is going to put up over 600 yards in this game. I think Texas doubles up Texas Tech 52-26.
Okay, and the game that we, in fact, we confirmed that will go on earlier this afternoon, the Baylor game at home against Kansas. Kansas lost to Coastal Carolina, turned it over a lot early. Baylor has yet to play. Does that impact how you look at this game, that they have not yet played a game, even though it might be Kansas, that people don't expect to do much?
Yeah, I think it does factor in, unless, they've been able to replicate, in scrimmages, what you do in a game. I think it does matter. And you just can't figure out with Kansas. Nothing makes sense. They should have been ready for that rematch against Coastal Carolina in the opener after losing last year. And what do? They get blown out. I mean, everyone here is expecting them to get blown out. And they're one of these teams, they play sometimes best against good competition. They played well against Boston College, beat them last year, and they covered against Oklahoma, Texas, and Iowa State. So they lost last year 61-6. They weren't even competitive in the game. They turned the ball over 6 times. But Baylor is 1-9 against the spread, playing a team with revenge here. Kansas has skilled players at running back and receiver that might be able to hang around. I think Baylor, maybe just because they're playing the first game, wins 38-24. But Kansas covers.
All right, Lee, the NFL game you have on our list is the Cowboys and the Seahawks in Seattle. No crowd. Neither of these teams play good defense. Seattle's a 4-point favorite right now. Do you expect to see a ridiculous shootout in the Pacific Northwest?
I think it's going to be, because what's going on with this Dallas team. I grade each player after the game, and on their defense, I only give 2 of the 11 players for Dallas the first 2 weeks passing grades above average. So that's a real problem. Their defensive line's getting blown off the ball. And when you get blown off the ball, it doesn't matter if you got a good pass rush because they just use play action against you. And the secondary is not making plays on the ball. How good has Russell Wilson been? Well, first 2 games, 9 touchdowns, and they've scored 73 points. You have to go back to Chuck Knox in 1985 in my computer data system to find a Seattle team that's been that successful the first 2 games. And they had Chuck Knox, and the quarterback was Dave Craig, and they went against Sam Weich's defenseless Bengals and Don Coryell's just tackling his optional Chargers in a shootout. Yep, Seattle 38-31.
Lee, your game of the week, Steelers are 2-0. The Texans are 0-2. Steelers currently 4-point favorites. What are your thoughts?
Something's cooking in this game, and I got some big intel on this game. They want to get it for free. 800-400-9741. And how about this, guys? We hit our big play already this year, 40 to 50 unit on Central Florida last week. Got another one in college football. Normally you have to be a monthly or season subscriber to get these 40 to 50 unit plays. I'm opening it up because I know if I can provide for less than $100 a service for the entire week, everything from now through Wednesday in football, including that 40 to 50 unit play, and they make, even if they're a $100 to $200 player, $1,500 to $2,500, they're going to ride with me through the Super Bowl. Everything for the entire weekend. Football, even a UFC 50-unit selection in NBA, just $97, ParamountSports.com.
800-400-9741, right, Lee? Appreciate your time,
That's
my friend.
It.
Lee Sterling.
All right, you have a great weekend. Everyone stay safe.
And, boy, we've known him. We've seen him at Super Bowls. He's always been great to us and great to the people who call. And it's a hard job, man. That's a tough, tough job. And he handles it, and he loves it, and he embellishes in him. He just goes right into it, loves it to death. Loves it to death. All right, so Armstrong Sims runs the mothership. We're live inside the Sikkim 365 Radio Broadcast Center. He said Oklahoma blows out K-State. Iowa State beats TCU. Texas doubles up Texas Tech. Baylor wins. And then also the Seahawks, 38-31. I'd say I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah.
Dallas recovers an onside kick at the end, kick a field goal. They'll win 39-38, something of that nature.
I'll tell you what, I am looking forward to seeing these Big 12 games this weekend. I mean, just for the simple reason that, obviously like watching Big 12 football, but we don't know a lot about these teams yet, and so it'll be nice to have a little sample of, K-State, for example. Are they the team that got upset a couple of weeks ago in their first game, or are they a better Louisiana Lafayette, right?
Yeah.
Or are they a better team that just played a really good Power 5 team in the opener in a weird year? We'll figure that out pretty quickly against Oklahoma.
We were here, and we had just kind of started to have movement in this room, inside this building, inside this broadcast center. What was it, a couple of 3 weeks ago? And then all of a sudden we were watching. Kansas State was still winning. Iowa State was winning. And then all of a sudden, a couple of hours later, all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
Louisiana's in the top 25, in fact.
I was driving back to Tyler to visit for the weekend, and that made for a great ride home. It was just having Sirius, the various game channels to be able to listen and hear, oh my gosh, K-State's in trouble, and oh my gosh, Iowa State's in trouble. So, I don't know if it's going to be that wild of a weekend for the Big 12. They're playing each other, but we'll know a lot more, that's for sure.
Louisiana got a scare against Georgia State the very next week. I mean, it took them all the way, I guess, into overtime and needed Georgia State to miss a kick for them to win the game. But, Billy Napier not going anywhere. So that's a team I think everybody should be scared of.
I think you'll see a lot of play with Oklahoma State not playing well against Tulsa. Again, I think that's what is the one thing about this week. That makes me pause that thinks Baylor just goes out and takes care of business. I think they will win, but I still think the fact that you get better after playing a game, even if you maybe lose the game. And so we'll see what happens with Kansas and Les Miles after. I'm not trying to say that they're going to, but let's say Puka Williams gets loose early. Let's say the defense has a few things in which they're trying to figure things out. We don't know yet. We don't know.
I think it's often harder for a defense to look good early on because, when you're changing systems in an offense. because like on the offense you can rely on that same thing on the other side, or you can complete a big pass, you can get some things going, you can run the ball. But on a defense, defense is all reaction. It's how you react to what the offense is doing, and so knowing what to do inside a certain system that you haven't run except in practice, against a team who knows what they're going to do. Yeah, I mean, I think you might have some of those. And a guy like Puka Williams, look, that Kansas
even against somebody
great,
pretty good.
But you have Puka Williams, he gets on the outside one time, and all of a sudden Kansas got some momentum.
Here's another thing. Even though last year the defense was a work in progress, they had the entire offseason, and they knew who the players were that were going to be running that system when they changed it with Phil Snow. And you could see from the beginning that they were going to be just turn the screws on people, and they did it pretty much all year long.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the concern with having not played and all that. My far bigger worry for this team is, it's pretty well known now. Even Waco, the Waco mayor said the offensive line was the unit affected by COVID over the last couple of weeks. So that's out there. The city's confirming it. So no more kind of dodging around that. So that makes me a little bit nervous. Just the fact that a whole unit was affected in that way, even if they didn't have big symptoms or anything like that, or it was just contact tracing, it's just okay, is that unit going to be fortified and solid enough? Because that would be my concern. Because if the offensive line's off the rails or not very sharp, or you're short on bodies, that's where it doesn't really matter what Charlie Brewer does, or it doesn't matter what the receivers or their backs are doing. You got to have that blocking up front. So that's where my biggest concern actually comes in, is just knowing that was the unit in particular that was affected and led to the cancellations. Outside of that, even when Baylor was 1-11, they had no trouble with Kansas. I know that doesn't apply necessarily to this year, but that's the one school they have not had any trouble, even when they were struggling, to beat. So I expect them to win tomorrow. I think they'll look sharp, but I do have a little bit of a concern just based off of the offensive line. If they look good, though, and they have bodies, then I think this is a Baylor win. Not going to say it's going to be a blowout, but I have a lot of confidence in this team. I think the extra time, like I said yesterday, is actually a blessing in disguise in some ways, and I know they're itching at the bit to play, so I'm looking forward to it.
I don't know it would be any fan base, but so Robert Brewer makes those comments about how he and Charlie, Chuck's excited about the option of another year. Mm-hmm. And the Baylor fan base is taking this and somehow on the message boards, it's a message board, but it's Sikkim365.com, which is we're attached to it. And what about Zeno? What about Bohannon?
Yeah. Well, that's the typical.
Yeah, and you take something that to me is incredibly positive. If Sam Ehlinger today announced that he was going to come back for another year, even with what they have in the system, and they've got theirs loaded up too, I don't know how you see that as a negative.
Well, also, let's just put it this way.
There's, first of all, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games left to play. We don't know.
No offense to Zeno and Bohannon. But Charlie Brewer has to make the decision for Charlie Brewer's life, not for their life.
Right.
So if Charlie Brewer makes the decision for their life, he can't make the decision because he's hoping for good things for them, and he is, but you got to look out for number one first. So if the best decision for Charlie Brewer in his football career and his life is to come back and play at Baylor, then that's what he should do.
He still has to do this year, but yeah.
But if he goes and puts up big numbers this year, I think a lot of those opinions are going to change. I think this is also a site where a lot of the information is, hardcore fans and things like that. And what is the biggest attraction to them? It's the recruiting, right? And there are people, I've seen them over the years, that would gladly push Sam Ehlinger out of the way because Malik Smith's coming up, and he's a 5-star out of, Duncanville, Legacy or whatever.
Right.
Heck. And so that's recruiting fans. It's always about the next guy, the fresh guy, the new guy. And that's why Charlie Brewer's leading them to a Big 12 title, and people are clamoring for Zeno. And so, he's going to come in and lead them even further. That's just what college football fans do, especially fans who follow recruiting. I understand the eventual concern that you might have, for a Jacob Zeno or whatever, but if Charlie Brewer could come back another year and he's clearly beating these guys out, he's a better quarterback. Why you wouldn't want to have a better quarterback, I don't know.
Hey, I think because what Zeno did, and you're right.
For 5 seconds.
For a handful of plays.
Right.
He lit up some heart. You're like, whoa, and he did. And I was like, man, this thing's pretty good.
There's not a Walmart that you can go and pick quarterback off the shelf, and it's going to be the same. It's something that, look, when you got to wrap your arms around a quarterback when they're there and they're winning, because you don't ever know when you're going to get them again. And you can go through a run of okay, Clemson might take a little bit of a dip when Trevor Lawrence leaves next year, but they still have somebody coming up. But I guarantee you, if you told Dabo Swinney, hey, Trevor Lawrence would like to stay here 7 years, he'd be like, okay, yep, good deal.
Well, look at UT post McCoy. How many bad quarterbacks were they playing for 7 years after that, right? So, the next guy is not a guaranteed thing, no matter what star amount he has next to his name. I was highly impressed with Jacob Zeno's arm. I think he has a better arm than Charlie Brewer. If that's something that, tickles your fancy, I totally get it. And there are people that think that you can be better than Charlie. But, that's kind of wishing for something and hoping for something, whereas we've seen the proof in the pudding with Charlie Brewer, and he's won them a lot of big games. So, that should not be a focal point, obviously, but it's something that will clearly be a message board discussion interest. Let's see how he plays this year first, though.
Let's see how he plays tomorrow, in fact.
Yeah, and let's say this, if something were to happen to him, then he may want to come back and have a year,
Yeah, that's exactly right. And who knows what happens in 5 weeks?
You're also not going to have a situation like Kyle Allen and Kyler Murray.
Right,
that's a one-off kind of a thing.
High school football, we're going to drop in on Riker. They get to play their first game tonight. Also, we have Temple. They're playing Longview tonight. Paul Catalina spoke with Tyler Holcomb and also with Scott Stewart. Last night, there were a couple of Central Texas games that were played. A&M consolidated. They've got a heck of a team with Coach Fedora's brother, Lee. 63-13 over University High. That was one of the games from yesterday. By the way, a game that we picked, Trinity beat Lamar 35-28. I picked Lamar in that game. I'm not sure what everyone else may have done. And there was one of the games, Shoemaker 61-35 over San Angelo Central was a game that we had. Timberview beat Lake Ridge 28-14. Those were some of the scores of interest from our pick'em from last night. There were a lot of games of bigger schools that played last night. Stephenville beat Dumas. John Tyler lost to Texas High 41-21, and Randolph, got to mention that one, beat San Antonio Christian 48-0.
I'm off to a stellar 0-3 start, so great week for Pick'em.
It's Pick'em. We'll have that up. We'll have, of course, the results as the weekend progresses, a bunch of games tonight. Coming up, Riker and Temple. We focus in on that. Then Dave Aranda, Baylor football coach at 5. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine is a hidden gem in Waco, and we heard, you heard us earlier in the show. If you heard it, telling T-Rex that's where he's got to go to stock up for the game tomorrow. If you need to stock up craft beer, they've got a fantastic selection of a wide variety of craft beers. Wine, absolutely, you can't beat their selection of wines that they have at Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Of course, all your different spirits, they've got that. And if you're looking to stock up on Balcones, they've got that, including Lineage, which is the latest limited release from Balcones. I've had it. It's absolutely fantastic. So if you're looking to load up for your tailgate tomorrow, Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street, a hidden gem. Check out more on Instagram and Facebook, Riverbend Liquor and Wine.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And oh, there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday 7 to 7, and personal trainers Christian London and Randall Court. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Hey guys, Scott Stewart here, head football coach of the Fighting Wildcats from Temple High School in Temple by God, Texas, and you're listening to Sikkim 365 Radio with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
This segment with Temple Wildcats football coach Scott Stewart is sponsored by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine.
Welcome back, Sikkim 365 Radio. Temple head coach Scott Stewart with us. And, Coach, it's been a long offseason, especially for the 5 and 6As. You finally get to make your debut this week, and at AT&T Stadium against the Longview Lobos. With everything that's gone on, could you be more excited for an opener maybe ever?
Well, yeah, I mean, you talk about a long time coming. I mean, we looked up the other day, and if we would have followed the schedule everybody else is following, our normal schedule, we'd be getting ready for week 5 right now. So, I mean, it's been a long time coming. The kids are itchy. The coaches are itchy. The whole community is itchy. So, you know, it's nice just to get to feel a little bit normal. I'll tell you this, I'm not going to know it's here until I get on a dadgum bus, because I've just seen too much in the colleges, last minute type stuff. So it's hard to be able to get in that rhythm and get in that zone. But man, it's nice to be doing what we're doing.
Well, you've got obviously Longview, you know, their great quarterback, Haynes King, is now at A&M, but you guys are Temple, they're Longview. This is a classic matchup. What can we expect to see on Friday night from these two teams at AT&T Stadium?
Well, I'm going to tell you what you're going to see the guys in white and green is they're going to be physical. They're going to be fast. They're going to fly around the football. And what I hope we see is we can try to match that. I mean, they're good. Coach King does as good a job as anybody in the country with getting those kids to understand scheme. They're fast. They're physical. I mean, they're hard-nosed. They're blue-collar. And I like those kind of games. I'd like for people – I mean, that's a compliment to me, and I hope people say that about us, but we'll see.
Well, you know, when with the kids and everything that they've gone through, I mean, obviously we've all gone through it together, but for the kids, your seniors, the team that's been waiting to play their senior year, you know, you think about your senior year when you're a freshman, and here it's been pushed back and pushed back. How have they handled all this throughout?
Well, they're resilient, and I've always said, I mean, we coach tough, we teach tough, we try to do everything like tough. No, Temple's just a tough town. It's a blue collar town, and I've always recognized that tough people handle adversity better than most people. I mean, like these people in this town, they don't fall apart. They come together, they do stuff. And so our team is just a microcosm of that. They've kind of done the same thing. I mean, these kids have banded together. They're frustrated, obviously, and over stuff they can't control. But I mean, we've just trusted the process, stayed the course, trust the administration and the UIL and kind of the CDC, local and statewide. And, if you do things right and you stay the course, hopefully the good Lord will give you an opportunity, and knock on wood, man. That's what we're looking forward to tomorrow night.
All right, Scott Stewart, Temple head coach, here with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Coach, good luck on Friday night.
Thank you, man. Appreciate everything you guys do.
Are you a Sikkim 365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sikkim365.com.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, specializing in diagnosis and treatment of any and all sport-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service to Central Texas. They tackle all surgical and non-surgical problems that arise from an active lifestyle. Trust the doctors that Baylor trust, and when injuries sideline you, don't wait for Monday. Join us at 8:30 on Saturday mornings for a post-game injury evaluation clinic. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. We get you back in the game.
Have you downloaded the Sikkim 365 radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance in McLennan County takes pride in backing Central Texas football. Our agents would like to help with your insurance needs. Call 254-772-8090 for an agent near you.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Hi, this is Tyler Holcomb, Athletic Director and Head Football Coach at Bishop Louis Riker, and you're listening to Sikkim 365 Radio with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
This segment with Riker Catholic Cougars football coach Tyler Holcomb is sponsored by Riker Athletic Booster Club, Boozers Jewelers, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine.
Tyler Holcomb is with us here on Sikkim 365 Radio. Your kids, your staff, everybody, would you say antsy, excited? What's your emotion right now that you're finally going to get to play a game that counts?
I think excited is the perfect word. Excited. Our coaches have done an incredible job getting our kids prepared for this moment. The hardest thing has just been keeping everybody engaged because you're kind of waiting around for such a long period of time. You had the strength and conditioning period that lasted, seemed like, 2 months. It's probably really, in reality, about 2 to 3 weeks. Then we finally were able to get in shoulder pads and helmet, and we got to play our first scrimmage last week, and we did a lot of really good things, did some boneheaded things, but got on the film Saturday, and hopefully we've learned from those things, and we can implement change to go into our first game against Brentwood Christian.
So Jake Boozer, he's back at quarterback, and that is, obviously there are other important things, but to get your quarterback again for another year is always a great thing, and he's really loaded for bear, isn't he?
Oh, he's a fantastic kid. His work ethic is second to none. He definitely puts in the time and is a really bright football player, and he's no doubt about it, the guy that makes us go offensively. So to have him back this year is a true blessing for our team.
You have a team that last year kind of had to come together and not only just learn about each other, but learn about the game of football. And now are you seeing the dividends of learning the nuances of the game to where they're not kind of looking at you going, what's this going on right here?
Well, it's like you said, we last year was like that for us. And we had a lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomores that played significant minutes for us. Whereas, a lot of teams are teaching schemes and X's and O's, we're teaching basic fundamentals to a degree. So, for us last year, that was our goal. We had to lay a solid foundation for our kids and for our program. This year is a little different because now we have that solid foundation to build on. Now it's just we're able to implement more scheme. We're able to be more creative with our defensive and offensive schemes, and our kids are able to do more, which hopefully is going to pay dividends in the long run and put us in situations to be successful moving forward.
Have you gotten to scout Brentwood Christian very much? I guess scrimmage film or something like that. I mean, this is such a weird year that you may not have as much on them as you normally would.
Well, we traded last Friday night. We traded our scrimmage for their scrimmage, so we have one scrimmage to evaluate them on. They're a good football team. Coach Washington's done an incredible job with that program. I think he's been there for 4 or 5 years, and they have yet to have a losing season. And they're just very fundamental. They don't do anything too cute or creative offensively or defensively. But they're very fundamentally sound in the things that they do. They run a 4-3 defensively, play a lot of quarters, read in the secondary. So they're going to play games with you, try to disguise coverages and things like that. But when it comes to their basics, they're pretty fundamental and disciplined football team.
Bishop Louis Riker head coach Tyler Holcomb with us here on Sikkim 365 Radio.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma. And they have to come here. They're used to lights. They're used to water in their mouth. They're used to experience. They already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Dodge is the highest-ranked brand in initial quality according to J.D. Power. Now at Allen Samuels. Get special offers on Dodge cars and SUVs. Dodge Charger SXTs are now available with 2.9% financing for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Dodge Journey has 2.9 for 72 or choose up to $4,750 in cash and subprime offers. Performance. Dodge. From Allen Samuels.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers, staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Playing at the goal line. Brewer keeps it again.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sikkim 365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Baylor in Kansas tomorrow, 6:30. The game is on television on ESPNU. There will be about the 25%, and who knows how many of that will actually show up. And obviously kicks off the season, kicks off the Dave Aranda era, which we've been waiting a month, really since waiting for 9 months for this. Baylor has now won 10 straight games against Kansas, 9-0 perfect record against the Jayhawks in Waco. The average margin of victory since 2010 is 37 points. Even the team that was 1-11 beat Kansas handily. Last year, 61-6 in Lawrence. Baylor is 6-1 in Big 12 openers since 2013, and they're all-time 15-4 against Kansas, and the last loss being back in 2007 when they were still in the end of that stretch of being a very bad football team. This is a game when Baylor's favored to win, obviously. Mm-hmm. Who has this week more, the word pressure is used too much, more anxiety? Parents of players, coaches, players, or the media like ESPN wanting to know if they're going to broadcast the game because of what we've seen?
I think it's players. I mean, because again, they've waited and waited and waited. Then I would say the parents of players, and then I'll give ESPN and probably their network execs who are trying to figure out how they make up some of that ad revenue. And I'm sure they call and say, "We'll make it up on the back end" or something like that. But
sure.
it's tough to say because if I'm just saying, if I'm AT&T and I've bought, all across the board, it probably doesn't bother me all that much because I know that eventually it'll get wormed into something. But I don't. If I'm one of the middle tier people who've just made this big buy for the first time in my life, do I go, all right, well, how am I going to get my value back on this? So it's tough. Yeah, it's real tough.
Scott Hatfield, by the way, on Twitter on my feed, love college hoops. KU is inbound to Waco. Actually has a flight tracker. That was 16 minutes ago. I hope so. Because about 3 hours ago or so, or maybe longer than that, the game, both teams passed all their testing. Nobody positive. That's good. And that doesn't mean there won't be some players that are still in that quarantine, right?
Is Kansas on their way to the game, or are they like on the Houston way to the game, where it's just the equipment truck, but they act like everybody's already here?
Wow. Yeah. I saw Tiny Mac Rhodes, who I've kind of not seen a lot of.
Well, I mean,
he said, "Hey, by the way,
he's been busy. I mean, gosh,
he's been trying to get this game, trying to cancel games that teams are scared of, right?" So, all right. So, Dave Aranda, every Monday, I'm very fortunate enough to have a chance to visit with him. This past week, a little bit longer time because he did his Big 12 media teleconference, and then the press conference wasn't until noon. Kenny Boyd, Mac Rhodes were also a part of that. So Baylor and Kansas tomorrow, and here's Baylor head football coach Dave Aranda. Dave Aranda with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Are you starting to wonder if you'll ever coach your first game as a head coach?
No, but it was a hard pill to swallow, though, for sure. Everything that went into that game and just the preparation, and I can't tell you how many guys just afterwards, Friday night, Saturday, just texting, calling with the majority of the team, just how many were saying, "Coach, I was ready to play." Just this one's kind of a dagger, and all of that is real. I mean, you felt it in the room when you talked to them, and so it's it was a hard day, but we bounced back, and so yesterday was a great workout, a lot of energy and excitement. The meetings I thought were great, and so this team just continues to impress, and the leadership of the team, and we're looking forward to a really good week.
I was going to ask you, how much more can a team take? Young people are very resilient, probably more so than even those who are older. But you've had delays, you've had the unknown, you've had an opponent cancel, then you cancel, and now you have a game in 6 days. Sometimes you look at young people and you say, man, they are as resilient as they can be?
Yeah, it's a good question. I thought that just for a minute to myself there on Friday. Prior to that team meeting, I was, I wouldn't be truthful if I didn't say that crossed my mind. And so, it's amazing, just the leadership of the group, the type of character that we got on the team. I think right away, there was a time when this decision had to be made, and I remember I talked to kind of the leadership group, and Charlie's on there, Terrell's on there, Christian Morgan's on there, there's a couple other guys, and we're talking about all of this, and it was hard, and you could see the emotion. It's a group FaceTime chat, and we're all seeing each other there, and that was a tough one. But the text that I got afterwards, and Coach, we got to do we got to do what we got to do, and if this is what it is, and we got your back, and we're supporting you, and we're all in. We'll make it work, and it's just great. It gives me strength. There's times where I could use a little, and I know that I think as a team we've. Having not played a game yet, we've been in some situations where I think it's been a give and take, and I certainly appreciate that.
You have said from the beginning how proud you were of the team being smart, mature, handling the situation, understanding the so-called kind of the bubble. Was this any kind of indication that anybody got loose, or is this just one of those things that this stuff is there and you're going to get it no matter what you do?
I think it was the latter. Yeah. So I think if it was the first instance, it would be a little bit more of a, hey, these are things that we can do better. These are the protocols we have in place, and this is the reason why we have them in place. But there really wasn't that, and so I think, when you do have a game postponed like we do because of COVID, then you're obviously going to look at everything you're doing, and you're going to improve on it. So we are, taking the time to make sure that our masks are on when we're teaching, that we're socially distanced when we're teaching, that our sidelines look the way they're supposed to look, and but I think it was really one of those things where there's a collection of this and that, and there's probably some bad luck in there, and then there's COVID in there. And so, we had a position group get hit, and we couldn't rebound from it. So, I think we'll be better off for it. I know we will. And, I know both coaches and players are very focused on the right practices and the right ways to move forward.
Yeah, it's just one of those. This is a football, or coaches, or control what you can control. Do you feel like the position group will get people back in time? Obviously, you have a game against Kansas on Saturday. Do you feel good about being thicker or deeper on the depth chart by the time, or is that going to be a touch and go throughout the week?
Well, we had a test yesterday, and so we'll get those results today, and then we've got 2 more tests on Wednesday and Friday, and so, you can, those things were, like everybody else, we're at the mercy of those. Now, I know I feel good about what I'm anticipating with those results, but I can't necessarily predict it. But I know that we've got guys coming back from guys that were off and not with us that are coming back at that particular position this week. And so I feel good about our depth from that perspective. But we're hoping for really good results coming back in.
Les Miles, you hired you when you were at LSU. What's it like to face him now as a head coach?
It's it's humbling for me. Les is one of the most genuine, compassionate, just real guys I know. Just the family's just real, man. So like when I was hired, they had us over to eat at his house, my family, and his family hosted, and his wife Kathy is just amazing, just so humble, and Les that way too, and his kids are just great kids. I know, Ben's playing for him now, and his daughters are his biggest fans, and I think they were not trapped by any of the, I don't know, the stuff sometimes that gets coaches and their families, and they weren't trapped by any of that. And I think especially there in Baton Rouge, sometimes you can get trapped. And I noticed that right away, and Dion, my wife, did too. And that these people are just, they're just like us, man. And so it was really, he's a treasure. So it'll be good to see him there at the 50-yard line in the beginning.
There was a hype video, and there was a quote from you, and I tried to write it down. I'm not sure exactly if I did it right. Always, this ain't the end of the story. Think of it where I began. This is where I start. This is my time. And those were your words. Does that play out this week now more than ever?
Completely. Yeah, completely. I think, to always look at something and as never as this is final, as never as this is the end. And I think whether it's, it's looking at yourself from a player perspective or looking at yourself as how I can improve as a person, how can I be a better person? I think you're always looking, always learning and always growing. And how can I strive for growth? And I think to do that, it's not about it's not about actually what you know. It's about being open and learning everywhere you can. And I think we've got a lot of guys, myself included, that are in that position, and we're looking to do it.
If you have a position group and somebody can't play because they have been told they can't play, they've done something where they've been suspended, but if that player was to play and allowed you to play, would you ever think about changing your mind, or do you have to stick to what you believe in as a coach and as a disciplinarian?
Yeah, I would stick to what whatever the rules were and whatever we believe in and whatever we said before, and so I think there's always going to be situations that arise, and I think this is one of them. There's been a few situations that have come up lately where right away I think to myself that, hey, this is all about who we are. This is all about, it's bigger than whatever it is, and sometimes it's hard to see past that, but it's bigger than this. This is about who we are, and I think getting those things right all the time is important, but I think especially early.
Defensive position names. Is there like a thesaurus for coaches that come up with, I'm old enough, I'm 61, where Mike was middle linebacker, Will was weak side linebacker, but now there's star, there's jack, there's creepers, there's all of this. Do you guys just dial up some thesaurus when it comes to naming, or could it be where you are, the school, the city, the name, whatever?
Yeah, I think guys just, they feel comfortable with. We had a talk with this earlier. So there's in playing Kansas, they run what I would call is buck sweep and on offense, and I think a lot of Kansas offense runs or offensive plays or offensive running plays are really designed to attack kind of a tight front. So zero nose, 2-4-eye techniques, guys that are lined up right on the inside shade of the tackle, B-gap players, and, their defense is a tight front. And, ours is a tight front, and LSU is a tight front. And so a lot of their run game are, tight front beaters. And so one of them is buck sweep, so they got tight end down, in a down location, so there's 3-point stance, and he blocks down and seals the near linebacker, and both guards pull, kind of like the old, almost it'll look like the old Green Bay Packers play, and the center will reach the nose, and the the tackles will reach a 4-eye and flip a 4-eye. And so we were talking about today, like I've always used the term buck sweep with that, and I was talking with Ron, he calls it pin and pull. And so, Ron, that's fine. Let's call it pin and pull. But I think there's you come up with how you come up with all of it, which you're used to, and you talk about that stuff so much that it just becomes part of who you are, and it's just you want to feel comfortable in your language, but there is a fair amount of language though, and right away when people talk, I know the school they're coming from or the coaches that they're associated with because of the language, per your point.
One more thing. I brought this up with you every time I've spoken with you about a coach, someone who's been a coach or someone who is still a coach, and what they have said about you. And one of them, obviously, I've mentioned a couple of times with you, and you have mentioned him as well as Tony Dungy. I mentioned the quote last week from you about you making sure that you stay who you are, because you have a similar kind of personalities than Tony Dungy. And he talked to you about, listen, you just have to make sure you stay who you are. I put that quote up. He responded and said, Coach Aranda is the real deal. The Bears are going in the right direction. What does that mean to you?
Oh, it's pretty cool. Coach Dungy is he's a mentor to me. He is what I aspire to be. I think, when I talk with, whether it's players, former players of his, when I talk to coaches just out in the community, just in the coaching community, and they see how he does it and the type of impact he has, not with how loud he says a thing, but with the fact that he cares, that it matters deeply to him, that he's in for it, for the good of the person, not for the effect of the player, and just the impact that has. You don't have to be loud to have that type of impact, and so I think there's guys that I think see that and respect it, and for me to have him as as someone that I can call and talk to is huge, and it's humbling.
Can you imagine, this is it, that a team is more ready to hit the field than Baylor this week after?
Yeah, it's we've talked about it quite a bit since moving on from Friday. Is what does it look like when you've been practicing this long and not play a game, and and how you have to manage that, and I think we're trailblazing a little bit here, and so I feel good about the ideas and the input we've gotten from everyone, and I think we've got ourselves a really good plan going into this week. And Kansas is a good team. Offensively they're creative, and defensively I know DJ and he'll be up for this one, and they'll give it their best shot, and so it's. Playing on Saturday night is going to be, I know, a huge motivator, and so we're excited, and we're ready to attack the week.
Baylor head football coach Dave Aranda on Sikkim 365 Radio. That was something that was part of Monday's interview. Everything he said still stands, of course, including the good plan, because that today was confirmed. That people took care of their business and everybody passed the test. Everybody, no negative test or no positive test today by Kansas and or as well by Baylor. This is Les Miles, who hired him when he was at LSU. There was a picture I saw. Ross Dellinger put a picture up that on the day that he hired him at Wisconsin, hired him at LSU, they took a walk along the levee, the Mississippi River, And here now Dave Aranda and Les Miles will meet on the Brazos River. And, of course, the game tomorrow night at 6:30. Now, we have Franklin's Mark Fenn in a couple of, maybe a segment or two, 522. Armstrong Sims runs the mothership. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke. I'm David Smoke. The text line available, 254-339-1122. We'll read some of that. Also, if you'd like, the Willis Law Firm chat room is also available in the Sikkim 365 premium section under the chat room. And a lot of you have asked questions on that. We've been able to pass some of those along to our guests, or even after we've had them on, to you as well. Let's discuss the Cowboys here, because we have spent a lot of the day, of course, with Baylor and Kansas, college football, the Big 12, etc. LSU, by the way, has not played in 255 days. That's how long it's been. It seemed like, of course, the delay of about 30 days. The Cowboys in Seattle. It is amazing to me that this game has a lot of implications, because this could have been a thud. Still good teams, but could have been 0-2 against a team that's playing really, really well on offense.
On offense, yeah. This is going to be a shootout, because the Seahawks don't have – they're kind of similar problems that the Cowboys have. Is up the middle, they're not really stopping anybody. And on the outsides, they're not really stopping anybody. Jamal Adams is making a ton of tackles, and they're moving around. But really, the Cowboys should expect to score some points and gain some yards this week. I don't know I don't know if they can stop the Seahawks. I mean, look, DK Metcalf – looks to me like he's been playing for 5 years already, these first two games.
The big body,
he's just huge. They don't have anybody who can match up. Trayvon Diggs practiced today, but he had a shoulder harness on. Tyron Smith was in pads, so that's something. He didn't do much, but he was in pads. So we'll see. And I do wonder if Tyron Smith plays, if they don't kick Brandon Knight, who played better than Terrence Steele, over the right side this week, and maybe get Dak a little bit better protection, although he only got sacked once against the Falcons. So I guess we'll see. But I expect a ridiculous shootout. And if you've got fantasy players on either of these teams, just put them in.
Yeah, I mean, it should be an interesting game. I think Paul kind of laid it out pretty clearly there. Looking forward to seeing how Dallas responds with the emotions that they had to put out there at the end of that game last week. Sometimes teams can come out of that and maybe be a little bit be a little sluggish. Maybe they're, just picking up right where they left off. I don't know, but this should be a great game. I think I would go with Seattle as far as picking a winner right now, just based off what we've seen from the two teams. But I do expect a shootout, and I think the Cowboys, have a great chance to win this game based on what we've seen from their offense so far. So it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. These two defenses are going to be asked to do a lot, and I think that there will be a lot of points. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I am too. And this is a game. You got two teams that when you get to December.
Well, and you know, if Dallas loses, all of a sudden they're 1-2, then that obviously changes some things, and you start going, well, they really should be 0-3, and then if they're 1-2, you're like, okay, well, where's this team heading? Granted, you played a team like Seattle. There's no shame in losing to a team like that, but you do have to kind of watch that record a little bit, even though it's still early on. You don't want to dig yourself into a hole, and certainly 0-3 or 1-2 is not how I think a lot of people probably saw this season starting off.
And look, they don't really have, like, you look at it based on the first 2 weeks. After this week, they don't. I mean, they've got a couple of them, but they don't have kind of the back-to-back-to-back like they did. They have Cleveland, New York back-to-back. So those are games.
Games.
Home game, back-to-back home games, yeah. 3 home games in a row, as a matter of fact, because I guess the NFL paid them back for last year where they didn't have 2 in a row the whole year. But and then, Monday, October 19th against Arizona, that's going to be a problem for them.
But the 3 home games in a row.
3 in a row, that's crazy.
3 in a row, which is fine. On occasion, you get that, you get the ping pong ball comes out right, and sometimes you're on the other end of that, as you mentioned. None of those teams in that 3-game set are very good.
No, and Arizona is one that's scary. But they're not like, again, are you terrified of them, or is it just, Kyler Murray's doing some things in an offense?
It's good to see.
That looks like it's going to be another game like Atlanta. I mean, that's that kind of game. And then they've got the Washington football team, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh back-to-back. Pittsburgh's the best team out of those 3 by a long shot right now. And again, that's a month down the line. But they don't have – look, Minnesota, looking at the beginning of the year, that looked to be a good game.
Yeah.
They look terrible right now. So
but one thing I know, that there's 2 or 3 teams that have started poorly, and I'm not even including Dallas, 2 or 3 teams that have started poorly. By sometime in mid to late October – or November will have everything righted the ship. And one or two that you don't expect because that's what the NFL is.
If one of the 4 teams in the NFC East figures out a way to win 10 games, they'll be able to sit their starters.
Well, someone's going to – you would think that even though the Cowboys are looking at the possibility, and I'm not getting ahead of myself here, that they could go easily 6 of their 10 wins they need to win the division are against their own division.
Right
the
now.
Giants are not very good. Washington – that game that they beat Philadelphia says more about Philadelphia than maybe Washington, because then Arizona just smoked them.
By far, they have the best offense in their division. So, yeah, I mean, granted, they've got teams that are scary down like Baltimore, the December, but that's all down the line.
Yeah, that's down the line. They got to worry about Seattle. They're very fortunate. And probably, they still kept firing. They could have gone down and not scored and not scored a touchdown and still been within a score of being maybe winning the game. But they made the plays enough. Schultz caught the touchdown. They get the onside kick from Crazy. It's it's bizarre. I was watching the Oklahoma K-State game last year that ended with an onside kick that was reversed that Oklahoma recovered like 25 yards down the field. And it just goes, it's just a weird, that football, you never know what it's going to do. I don't know if you're an Atlanta Falcon or you're Dan Quinn, it's just a game. In all this time, but how you slept for a couple of 2 or 3 nights. I don't.
Yeah.
After how that thing ended. Anybody on that team, any 11 players could have kicked the thing out of bounds, would have been a penalty flag, could have ricocheted off a Cowboys player and gone 30 yards backwards and they recovered. They're 30 yards difference, But that is still one of the greatest, most bizarre finishes I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's
not a Hail Mary, more than that.
Yeah, it's the craziest game I can remember with the Cowboys, at least in the post Super Bowl era, was that Buffalo game that Romo played horrible for
5 interceptions or whatever.
Yeah, he was horrible for 3 quarters, and then it was like he got some smelling salts or something in the fourth quarter and just went off.
Yep.
And then they got I guess Jason Witten recovered the onside kick, didn't he? Jason Witten recovered an onside kick because he was on the.
But back when you did at least 20% of the time, now it's none of the percent of the time.
Yeah, and so then they got the onside kick and went down and kicked a field goal, and that
there was a Giants game one year when Romo was there. When it was like one of Parcells' first games. It might have been year 1 or 2, and he had gone over this. I'd seen him even at training camp go over this. Certain things that can happen that you go, that's not going to happen. And sure enough, it comes up. And sure enough, it did. And they ended up winning the game on a pass to somebody down to the left sideline. They kick a field goal in a game they didn't no way they had a right to be a part of.
I think an interesting question to ask Bill Parcells was, you remember that year he kind of knew that Tony Romo was ready to be a starter, but he was afraid to unleash him.
Yeah.
He was so reticent, and he was right about Romo the whole everything he said. If he gets, I don't want him to get too ahead of himself. I don't want him to get this.
Right.
Everybody's going to all these things. He was just dead on, and I'm sure he probably wishes he'd unleashed him earlier. But even still, still wound up good for the Cowboys.
All right. When we come back, it's 5:30. We're going to look again to the high school football games tonight. One game locally. There's a lot of streaming going on. There's a game tonight at Fox Sports Southwest Temple in Longview. It's a great television broadcast. Craig, you watching a little bit of that Denton-Ryan game? Is that what you're doing?
I just saw a clip from it.
Yeah, the game against Arlington Martin. I mentioned some of the scores last night. A&M Consolidated won big against University. Shoemaker scored 61 to beat San Angelo Central. Those are the 2 local games. The Fairfield-Groesbeck game has been canceled. I'm not sure they'll try to find another date. I need to get a hold of Coach Bomar and Coach Bechtel on that as well. But Baylor and Kansas tomorrow, we've had a bunch of discussion on that. We'll come back a little bit more high school football. The 254-339-1122 in the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line brought to you by T-Rex. Yeah. Because he's probably going to drop by there at some point today. Can't wait for tomorrow. Our pregame show will be at 4:30 until 6. But remember, tonight at 6:30 at Brazos Parking, Ashley Hodge and all the fellas, Brian and all the guys are going to be over there at the Brazos Parking tailgate, kind of a night before thing. And there's going to be a taco truck there and cold beer. And then tomorrow, everything opens up at 11 at the Brazos Parking across from McLean Stadium, and we'll run all day. 11 until all day. And there'll be people there well before 11 to enjoy the atmosphere of college football at McLean Stadium. And it's been since November, since they played a game here. So it's been 10 months or so since they played a game here. When we come back, we'll hear from Mark Fannin as well from Franklin High School. They have a game with Lexington after an 0-2 start. Nice win against Troy last week, and this is Sikkim 365 Radio. Waco Custom Marketplace, tailgate product, tri-tip, brisket, sausage, chicken. That's what you can get there. That's what you do get there, and that's what they do for you. You can customize an order. You could also, if you just want maybe something for yourself when you grill, like I talked to Dr. Rob Maxey from IdealMRI.com earlier today. He's going to be tailgating from his house, and I'm sure we'll throw some good stuff on the grill or whatever else he might be making in the kitchen. Waco Custom Marketplace started a vision many years ago, founded by David Bauer. And in fact, back in 2014, the Bauer family began to distribute the best quality meat, pork, poultry, and products to restaurants and individuals alike in the Central Texas area. And they've done it with twofold. They had the Waco Custom Meats, which has got all the food for distribution to restaurants all around Central Texas. And then they took over Waco Custom Marketplace, which is your hometown grocery store feeling. And inside there, they have a butcher shop that has beef and poultry, pork, and seafood. So you can get whatever you want customized right there in front of you, and you could order as they have it in front of you, or they could also go back in the back. If you want to, for example, you want something cut, trimmed, whatever they have, big old tub of briskets there for you as well for football season and tailgating. And then also, there's a bakery with fresh baked bread, kolaches every single morning, and on top of that, you can get cookies and pies and cakes and much more. And that's where they also have the pre-cooked meals with large portions. If you want to take it home and zap it, you can have it. It's very, very good. And on top of that, they've got cold beer and wine. Soft drinks as well. And then up and down the aisles, you might see something, for example, that is something like hamburger helper. You might see Rotel tomatoes. You might see pasta, rice, potatoes, and much more. It's your hometown grocery store. That's what it is. And there's all sorts of different snacks along the way as well. The Bauer family has done an incredible job. Waco Custom Marketplace, you can order online. And again, that's where you get your tailgate product. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, specializing in diagnosis and treatment of any and all sport-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service to Central Texas. They tackle all surgical and non-surgical problems that arise from an active lifestyle. Trust the doctors that Baylor trust, and when injuries sideline you, don't wait for Monday. Join us at 8:30 on Saturday mornings for a post-game injury evaluation clinic. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. We get you back in the game.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new Lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The Sikkim 365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
A couple of other storylines in high school football. The high schools in 5A and 6A, a lot of them, that's why there was a ton of Thursday games, because a lot of the stadiums that have shared school districts, Mansfield's got 2 stadiums, and a lot of them have many. That's why there were so many games last night. And that's the way it's going to be as people try to find out. What's going to be interesting is a lot of the stadiums that are used during by district, that are sometimes the larger stadiums in the playoffs, are going to be busy because those 5As and 6As are going to be playing their games towards the end of the season. And so as you have, I think, in 6A, and I don't know about, I should know this, damn it, but you have that number 1 and number 2 seeds, and you get the host games. I got a feeling that's going to trickle into the lower seeds. I think I saw Matt in the classes.
I get that, like, sometimes in those lower classifications you've got a little bit more distance. You know, especially, when you look at, Dallas, Houston, Austin, like their first round games are usually inside the same like metroplex of the area. But I really do think that that's how it should be for everyone.
Otherwise, winning the district championship is just a pennant or a banner, and it means something. But truly, when it's set up as far as the bracket, it just means that's where your number 1 seed. And you play the other teams, other districts' number 4 team.
Wouldn't it save you money in the long run?
What save who money?
Like the schools, wouldn't it save them money to do home and home in the first couple rounds instead of having to, pay a fee to go play somewhere else?
Well, it all depends, especially with the capacity down. And UIL gets some money. I don't think they don't get some of that playoff money too. But I've always thought that. I always have thought that the district champion should host the first round. I don't know about the runner-up. I don't think number 2 seed should. That happens too.
Maybe you wouldn't have teams like tanking a game to avoid a playoff opponent if that were the case.
We saw 2 years ago. Yeah, that's a great point. All right, so Franklin opened up the year. Remember, they lost that game, 21-20 to Lorena, and they kind of got off to a tough start. Then they also battled COVID. They really didn't practice for almost a week and a half. And then they played Troy with their high-octane attack. Troy had lost to Salado, had been giving up some points, but they got Zach Robachic. But Franklin and beats Troy 42-27, looks good doing it, and had a chance to visit with their head coach, Mark Fannin.
Mark, I thought your team showed great resiliency the way you bounced back from the early start. You've had to battle the COVID thing, games canceled, etc. Do you feel like you turned the corner with how you played last week? And now, of course, here's Lexington with all the talent that they have as well.
Yes, sir, I do. I think our kids, like you said, they bounced back, and it was the first time in about 2.5 weeks we actually had a normal week of practice with a full house in the locker room, and we got after it as kind of. It was kind of like the first day of 2 days on Monday out there. The kids were excited. They were bouncing around last week and had a really good week of practice, and it showed Friday night against Troy. Troy's a really good team. I liked our effort against those guys, and I'm hoping we can put it together tonight against a good, very solid Lexington team. If we come out playing like we did against Troy, I feel like I think we have a good chance.
They have Jared Kerr, but they have more than that, don't they? That's someone you have to know where he is, both sides of the football, but they have other weapons to deal with as well.
They definitely do, Smokey. The Kerr kid is special. He's one of a kind, especially at this level. But they do have other weapons that they go to and they utilize. We're just gonna have to fly around on defense and get our right keys and get the job done.
I have to ask you this. You replace a legend in Mike Hedrick. The expectations at Franklin, you knew that. That's the job you wanted. That's the one you earned. Did you feel a little bit, not wobbly, but did you feel a little bit of pressure? Even though you lost to good people, did you feel a little bit of that after you lost the first couple of games?
It's always being a first head coach, first-year head coach, you're always looking for that win, and especially with that first win, especially with the tradition we got here in Franklin and how serious this community takes Friday Night Lights. It was a little uneasy, but I kept telling myself to just stay on track and kept telling the kids to stay on track, the coaching staff to stay on track. We're going to be okay. And they've really done a good job at that.
Franklin's Mark Fannin. They have Lexington at home tonight. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
All right, a couple of other stories for us to discuss. Kelly Stoffer was a part of our show yesterday. He's doing the color tomorrow night with Baylor and Kansas. Remember, he brought up the quarterbacks at KU, and he brought up Jalen Daniels. And what he mentioned was that Kansas got on Jalen Daniels because Dearman, the offensive coordinator, had kind of, discovered him or whatever when he was actually an analyst at Texas. Well, this is pretty cool. Kelly this morning sent me an email. Hey, David, good to talk to you guys yesterday. Wanted to make one correction if anyone asked. In talking with Brett Dearman today, offensive coordinator at Kansas, he actually did not discover the freshman quarterback Jalen Daniels until he was consulting for Kansas after he left Texas. I wanted to confirm that a bit. What I read was wrong. The details were wrong. It was actually someone at KU had a connection to the kid that started the process. And that was pretty cool for him to reach back out and correct himself. And you don't see that a lot.
No, I'm a very big fan of their broadcast team. They've read our articles on the site, and they've clearly done their homework. I think Roy Philpott and Kelly Stoffer are right up on my list right now.
Last night, this is waiving bowl qualifications. So in other words, is that still going to be the case with the MAC and Pac-12 playing?
They're already pretty low in the first place, so now.
I mean, are we going to have bowl games?
I don't know
that's
how
the thing. Like, you can waive the qualification for it, which is something. I mean, if some teams are only playing 8 games, how do you expect them to win 6 of those to make a bowl game? So, I mean, you had to do something there, but. I mean, I don't know how many people are planning on going to, like, the Holiday Bowl this year, you know what I mean? Or big travel to go follow a game that doesn't have any impact on the national championship. I don't know where we'll be at that point.
What sense would it make to go to a location? Because the bowl week is not just about the game. They have all these events and things like that. So what sense would it make for everybody to go to San Diego or Shreveport or wherever if there's not anything on the line? It just
why do we have bowl games in the first place?
Well, I mean, it's but like to go there and do it and not do it at a home stadium. There's not going to be fans there for most of them. You would think
25% perhaps.
Well, it depends on the state.
Here's what the deal was. It's the number of games is affected. You're right. I just saw where Florida opened up things. Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bowl games in Florida.
Yeah.
What this is you can be 3-3. It's the 500 thing. You know, if you play 6 games and you go 3-3, what I'm asking is this, and they got to go through this. The MAC is just now saying they're going to play. So there's another conference who adds into the mix. The Pac-12 is going to play. There's another conference that's added into the mix that when they were discussing that everybody just play a game and you're going to get to go to a bowl game, whether you're 1-8 Kansas or 2-8 Kansas or 3-7 West Virginia.
Well, look, I would love to see another game. I just don't know what of getting out. Like, if everybody's losing money right now, right, then spending the money to go to do all these things and that's adding another road game for both teams. There's all this expense to it. How much money is the bowl going to be able to kick back to them? I don't know. To me, I just would like to know the financial.
I don't know how many people have ever made money by getting to a bowl game anyway. In the end, when all the money you get all the people who want to be there, all the folks that are part of the peripheral traveling party. I don't know how many teams. That's a good question for Mac on Tuesday. I don't know how many teams actually make money on bowl games anyway. Unless you're talking about the dudes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but just taking the money out of the equation, I'm just unsure of how people are going to pack on to New Orleans streets to, go watch the Sugar Bowl at 25% capacity. Great. I just don't know how many people are going to be geared up to go travel somewhere across the country and be amongst a bunch of people because we still don't quite have the numbers all the way down to where I think everybody still feels comfortable. So, I just don't see a lot of travel for bowl games. So I'm just curious how many bowl games there will actually be. So I think you're going to probably have a ton of teams qualify because they'll win 3 games out of 6 or whatever. But, which bowl games are actually going to even occur? And that'll be interesting to see.
Bahamas Bowl. Right. Are they going to go to the Bahamas?
Doubt it. Yeah, I would doubt it. But, for the college football playoff games, obviously, that's a different story. That's not even money either. That's a little bit of it's money. It's always money, but that's prestige and TV time and playing for a national title. If you're not playing for a national title, I understand what you're saying. What does it matter every year? But for Baylor, winning the Texas Bowl was a big deal. That was a big deal for the program because of where they had been just a couple of years before. So those games do matter to a lot of programs, even if they're not playing for all the marbles. And they will matter this year. I just don't know if they'll matter as much when teams are looking at all the things that will have to happen.
Especially when you're furloughing people, laying people off, you're not coming back. The general quality or qualifying was you had to be 500. And on occasion, you had a few 5 and 7s get in and play bowl games, and they had to make decisions. Some of them said yes, some of them said no. The Oversight Committee is recommending would eliminate that requirement for this season. Would eliminate it. The 2021 bowl season only postseason games could be played December 1st through January 11th. They would still have to do the academic progress rate and all of that. And so now I think that when I saw this pop up, start to simmer a few weeks back, but now you've had the Big Ten change their mind, the MAC changed their mind, the Pac-12 changed their mind. You're talking about adding about 30 teams now into the mix, maybe more. And it was that, let's say there were 43 bowl games. God, there might be 50. And there weren't enough teams to fill them. And that's why I thought they were going to lower the requirements, but that appears to be interesting. By the way, one more note in the NFL. Do you see this quote from Don Martindale, the defensive coordinator for the Ravens? They could have paid him $1 billion. I'd still think he's underpaid on Kansas City quarterback Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I also wanted to mention real quick that with the Big Ten returning and the Pac-12 returning after all of their big dramatics about a month and a half ago, the only schools now not playing in football bowl subdivision are UConn, who most people don't even know has a football program, so they're irrelevant anyways. New Mexico State, who is an independent and pretty irrelevant, quite frankly, and Old Dominion, who doesn't really have a long, storied football program. So those 3 were amongst the first 3 to say, all right, we're out.
They beat Virginia Tech a couple years ago.
Yeah, okay. Well, the Virginia Tech.
Old Dominion, when I think of them, I think of a men's basketball team with the women's team back with Ann Donovan and Nancy Lieberman in the 70s.
But those 3 aren't making a bunch of money anyways, but those are the only 3. 127 of the 130 are playing football now.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Petty Clinic committed to providing men the most innovative, high-quality health care available. Unique services dedicated to you, a man, allowing same-day appointments 24/7, access to Dr. Petty via office visit, virtual telemedicine visit, phone visit, secure text or email. He's a board certified in primary care, eager to discuss exciting new wave of comprehensive health care with you in greater detail, and currently offering men an initial free courtesy consultation to provide more details of this exciting type of medical care with focusing on promoting superior health in men. In other words, you becoming the high-performance man that you want to be. Dr. Petty has special interest in testosterone replacement therapy, currently offering immediate, same-day access for lab screening, and also can secure discounted lab work. Tell them Smokey sent you to help identify you if that is you. Low testosterone is common. 1 in every 3 men, often causing the following symptoms: fatigue, loss of energy, sexual performance is a problem, or ED. Loss of sexual interest, decreased muscle mass and strength, excess body fat, weight gain, depression, moodiness, poor sleeping, insomnia, and poor mental health. If you have any of those, there's a lot of reasons that could be the case: exercise, diet, or just focus or stress. But low testosterone could be another reason. Contact him, pettycliniclowt.com, pettycliniclowt.com. Get the blood work, let him look at the blood work examples as far as what your levels are, and put you in a program to help you become the high-performance man that you want to be at pettycliniclowt.com.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more. Hey, it's time to stretch your legs. Jeep Adventure Days are here at Allen Samuels. Get special financing on the granddaddy of Jeeps, Jeep Gladiator. Now at 3.9 for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Grab hold of Jeep's rugged subcompact, Jeep Renegade with 0% for 72. No payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $5,750 in cash. Let's get going with amazing deals from your friend in the car business, Allen Samuels.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab blood work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The Sikkim 365 Radio poll is brought to you by Pickup Outfitters, where everything purchased and installed comes with our famous lifetime installation guarantee and free warranty assistance. 220 Lake Air Drive or createacommotion.com.
I mentioned Scott Hatfield, loved college hoops on Twitter, mentioned he had like the flight tracker. That's when a coaching search is going on. That's when a coaching search is going on. And this is with a football game because people were so enamored and understood after the last couple of 2 or 3 weeks that the game with Kansas, which I was able to get that confirmation a little bit earlier, and it, like everyone lost their mind because they've been waiting for this. And tomorrow, again tonight at 6:30 over at Brazos Parking, Ashley Hodge and Sikkim 365 tailgate will have a little appetizer, so to speak. The taco truck will be there along with beautiful cold beer from Brotherwell and Three Nations. And then tomorrow it all opens up at 11 o'clock. Throughout the day, and there'll be some over at the Brazos Parking. They'll be there much earlier. In fact, maybe start tonight and hit it in the morning. And then tomorrow night we'll have our pregame at 4:30. We'll take you until 6, game time at 6:30, and we'll be back here in the broadcast center. And then postgame, Grayson Grundhafer and J.D. Piquel will handle that. Take your calls and your feedback and your opinion, and we'll try to get them all the various things that are said on the Zoom postgame with Dave Aranda and players as well. All right, Paul, so your thoughts about tomorrow, Baylor and Kansas?
I think Baylor wins by 17 to 24 points. I think that it might look, a little different early as they start to adjust, but they've got too much talent to not be. And again, that's provided that, the depth chart that we see in our heads we've seen is the one that shows up tomorrow. And there can be things that pop up where maybe some guys, are still sick or not ready or all that. But I do think that 17 to 24 points is about reasonable to me for a team that hasn't played yet. And I think they're going to be loaded for bear and ready to rock.
If all things are equal, then I'm taking Baylor by at least a couple scores. I've said the reasons why multiple times. I'm very confident in this team. They've had it long enough to get ready for it. And, the only thing that would make me change that, and that's why I said if all things are equal, would be if we show up tomorrow and there's only 7 offensive linemen playing, and we don't have that knowledge right now. So that would be the only thing that would make me think otherwise. But all things being equal, at least a couple scores for the Bears.
What to me is going to be interesting is how, if there's any early adversity. The team last year, if there was any, they responded to that very, very well. They have one time were 9-0 and beating the hell out of Oklahoma, and they responded to anything negative. Remember how tough they were in that game in Fort Worth against TCU, and really how tough they were in the Big 12 championship game. Georgia just kind of was too much for them. Mm-hmm. And so, but it seemed like they responded to that. They tightened the game up. They slowed the game down. They eventually, in some cases, had to go fast forward, and they could do all of that. Will be interesting to see the pace of the game. If, in fact, somehow or another, someone from KU pops one early. Mm-hmm. Because there were some big plays last year, but not many against this defense and how the defense reacts to it. I think Baylor wins. I have no idea whether it's by 7, 27, or anything else in between. A lot of people to get to today. Man, there's a lot to think. First of all, let's start with Armstrong Sims, who runs the mothership today. Armstrong, thank you very much for being a part of it again today. Ashley Hodge for being a part of it earlier today. Clint Zander, Bosqueville, Mike Shields, McGregor, Grayson Grundhafer, Robert Brewer, Lee Sterling, Temple's Scott Stewart, Tyler Holcomb of Riker, Baylor's Dave Aranda, and Franklin head coach Mark Fannin. Thanks for all of those of you who are on Twitter, also on the text line, and also on the Willis Law Firm chat room. And, of course, thanks for the call right off the top, the T-Rex. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, high school football throughout the night tonight. We'll be back here tomorrow at 4:30 for the pregame show, Baylor and Kansas, right here. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you tomorrow on Sikkim 365 Radio.